then I said, McClunky.
What does that mean?
I don't know. So anyway, that was the dumbest opening we've ever done. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast where brother and sister team go through all things pop culture, no matter the genre, and no matter the medium, to determine whether or not the subject at hand belongs
On your shelf.
Yeah, that's right. Today, we continue here in Volume 5 discussing one of the subjects that we have been diving into. We're getting close. We're getting close to the end of the series to be able to tell you the rankings and whether or not it has shelf life. But right now, we are in the middle of it. Rachel, what is up for discussion today?
We will be talking about episodes 10 and 11 of Doctor Who, Series 1.
Yes. Entitled
The Doctor Dances and Boomtown.
Boomtown! Yeah, I don't. It's whatever. Yeah, so if previously.
It does make it sound like it should be a Western, honestly.
Kind of does. Yeah. Now that you've mentioned it. Now
we have to
I
discuss
kind of
the
want
titles
that.
here.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is
You'll get a Western at some point.
I guarantee it. How could you not?
Well,
There's hundreds of these.
I know you
things.
do. I just know you do.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. So, anyway.
The way they got me.
That really got Rachel. That really got her.
So you kept saying it.
This is a previously on Shelf Life sort of episode, because if you were with us in a previous episode of Doctor Who, we left off with The Empty Child. That is a cliffhanger episode of Doctor Who. So now we are on the next one here, which is The Doctor Dances, which wraps everything up in a neat little package then with the end or the second half of that particular story. So Rachel, please let us know where are we? What happened? Where are we at here as we dive into The Doctor Dances?
The Doctor and Rose have landed smack dab in the middle of London during the London Blitz, which is happening in World War II.
For those that are uninformed.
Well, you never know.
You don't know. People could be listening to us 100 years from now, and they're like, the fuck is that? What is World War II? I don't know.
It's my favorite war.
That's true. We are in the middle of Shelf Life's favorite war, World War II. We have to remind people of that.
You gotta know these things.
Yeah. The podcast has a favorite war, and it's World War II.
So they're in London. It's World War II. Rose meets Captain Jack Harkness.
Sparrow.
Not Sparrow.
Oh, sorry.
And the Doctor runs into a girl who's running away from a child that has what seems to be a gas mask for a mace,
or a
gas
face.
mask for a face, asking for his mother. And right now,
are you my mummy?
Exactly.
Is a refrain that I've heard a million times now.
Mummy, mummy,
yeah.
Are you my mummy?
Yeah.
And right now, they're all trapped in the hospital with other patients asking for their mummy.
Yes, so they've been surrounded because this is an epidemic. Apparently, a ton of the people all keep getting these gas mask faces in this area, so it's like spreading via touch. I think if the kid touches you.
If the kid touches you, it starts to spread.
Yeah. And that's where we are at. This episode is entitled The Doctor Dances. It debuted on May 28th, 2005. It is the second part of this, of course, written by Stephen Moffat, directed by James Howes. You get this continuation. Nothing really to necessarily report on from like some of the behind the scenes stuff necessarily. We can get right into it here, Rachel, with The Doctor Dances. What do you say?
I think we can do that.
Okay, so we start exactly where we left off with the empty child. Our heroes are trapped by the sleeping people, or the zombie-esque gas mask people, which is an interesting design. I'm pretty sure I said that in the last recording, too. Like, it's creepy, but it's creepy in that Doctor Who way, where it's like, only a kid would probably find it scary, but it would stick with you if you watched it as a kid, which is what I want from something to be scary. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
Like, it should form a feeling in you. to be scary.
Yes, exactly.
They're backed into a corner, and after like the previously on, it kind of starts with them backed into the corner, and the doctor tries something. So he just yells at them as they
To
say
go
mummy
to
a
their
bench, and he
room.
tells them to go to your room.
Go to your room. I mean it. I'm very, very angry with you. I'm very, very cross. Go to your room.
I
I'm
am very
very angry with.
cross.
Oh, does he say cross?
Yeah, he says I'm very angry. I'm very cross.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if he said cross, but having watched Paddington, check the back catalog, I was like, he should be saying cross because that's just proper. That's just proper
It
British
is
term.
proper.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but when he's yelling at all of these creatures, the boy stops and tilts his head like a dog, and then eventually backs down because the boy was going to attack Nancy, the girl,
Hmm.
that is his sister, and then they all go back to their beds and just lay back in their
Right.
beds.
It becomes like a hive mind almost.
Yeah, he's controlling them all, I think is how it's
Yes.
working. The doctor says how he's glad that worked because if it wouldn't have, those would have been terrible final words. And
Honestly, you're right.
he gives them that Doctor Who Bugs Bunny smile, and that takes us to the credits. Yes, Rachel is exhibiting it, which is it is a ear to ear grin, and the ears on
He does have a
Christopher
big mouth
Eccleston
for it.
are big
Yes.
ears, so it's a big ass grin too.
I love it.
Nancy cries after this confrontation with Jamie because she's lost him, and she just thinks like he's
I'm a little monster.
little
He's like a
monster
monster now.
zombie, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Captain Harkness thinks it isn't a mask; it's flesh and bone. So Captain Jack's got like machinery. Uh,
He's examining like
yeah, he's
the
doing some
faces.
examining, and he's like, "This isn't like a mask. This is like part of their face now," which is very
Yeah, it's like
odd.
fused.
Yeah,
It's just like a part of them.
yeah.
It's weird.
So here's the thing: Captain Jack is talking about like how this was supposed to be like a con for him, and I was like, this con doesn't make a ton of sense. But I guess it's because he does it in these apocalyptic scenarios. So he like talks about how he does it. Does the cons here. He tried to do it in Pompeii, but he has to get like the day right and those kind of things. I guess his idea is that is bringing like space junk. He's telling
Yes.
people like if you can find a time agent, he's telling them like, yeah, it's
It's something fancy.
valuable.
It's something special.
Yeah. And then when they come to get the money, before they can realize that it's like junk, they have to get out of there anyway because like the place is
Because
gonna
of
blow up.
there's a special event that happens
Yeah,
that's going to just destroy the special space junk that
right.
he has.
So like he gets away scot free and he like vanishes and then they like, can't really chase him down to call him out on it or whatever. So like that's his con.
Right.
Guess it kind of works. This idea of like hiding in apocalyptic scenarios, Rachel, I know you haven't watched it yet, but like this also takes place in Loki. So that's
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
He brought a burnt out medical transporter. They're thinking maybe brought this thing, or at least that's
Right.
what the doctor says. And Jack is like says he has nothing to do with it. There was nothing in it. It was empty. He made sure it was empty, so it could not have been something that was in this medical transporter thing. He's like, it's just
Hmm.
this. That's all it is. And like him and the doctor both know what it is, so they're like, if you know that there's nothing in there. And because he said like, oh, you could always go to Pompeii, but you have to make sure it's not Volcano Day, and he like laughed. The doctor's like, well, it's Volcano Day, and I guess he's trying to say like it's part of the Blitz where like this area is going to be bombed. So
I think it's going to be bombed. Right. Well, that is part of it. He goes, right now, this is Volcano Day, but it's also like you're destroying London. This is
oh
going to destroy
yeah,
everything
you're
too.
right. I guess
You're
that
causing
is
it to
yeah.
happen.
That's probably more the way that you're supposed to interpret it. Captain Jack is causing Volcano Day.
But you're right. It is also the same day that the bomb is supposed to fall on
Right,
the space junk.
right.
So,
So Nancy, we go back to Nancy, and this kid comes, this little blonde kid comes with the gas mask on, and it's just a kid. So like
you're
Nancy's
right.
like, you little shit, and like takes it off and is like, I thought you were Jamie, and it's just some other like kid with them. So
Right.
if I would have slapped
Well, it's
this
the
kid.
child that lives there.
It is the child that lives there, is what you find
Yeah.
out. But why does she act like? she knows this kid because she's like, I thought she would Jamie.
Oh, I don't think she is. I think she's literally just going, oh my god, I thought you were Jamie. I
Okay.
thought you were my little brother that was going to, like, kill me.
I thought it was one of her little.
She's, like,
I thought it was one of.
chastising him.
No, I thought it was one of her little like orphan ragtag children. That's
I
like.
think he probably would have had a snarky comment back to her.
I don't
He didn't
know.
say a word.
She should have slapped that kid regardless, because you're under pressure. You're under some stress. Slap that kid. Who's gonna know? His
It'll
fat.
help.
These Dursley
Oh, you know
prototypes.
his dad already does. Like, that dad looks
Oh,
like
that
he
dad
beats
beats
his
him.
kid.
Oh, absolutely. So before
Yeah,
Nancy,
he is a Dursley.
before
That
they
is a
force them
Dursley
in,
dude.
these Dursleys from the 40s, these
Which sounds like probably just the Dursley.
which is just the Dursleys, these proto Dursleys. How come those haven't been in the Fantastic Beasts movies? Where are the Dursleys? Hashtag where are the Dursleys? You don't want to see them, Rachel? You don't want to know what they're up to?
Them. Nobody wants them. Honestly, though, they must have some family member that has, like, magical powers, right? Because
yeah, what? No, on
not Dursley's. That's on her
Petunia's
side.
Yeah,
you're right.
Vernon's side is just a bunch of fat fuck slobs.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I just want to see. I want one of these movies to have Vernon, like Dursley's. I mean, this would be fine if they're
They've
just
got to be
hoarding
like
food.
higher in like Parliament or something.
Yeah,
and
they're like trying to say like we need to make peace
the
with
scummiest
Hitler or
people.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's what I want.
Oof, that's a big oof.
So anyway, these proto Dursleys grab Nancy and they bring her back into their house. Meanwhile, Jack and Rose and the doctor are all running around trying to like find a way out of the asylum, the hospital, whatever you would call it. Yeah, I guess it is a hospital. Jack blasts the door open with this. I can't remember what he calls it, Rachel. It's a sonic something. It's some sort of sonic gun. It's like a square gun or a cube gun. I can't remember what they call it.
A sonic blaster.
There you go. Sonic
51st
blaster.
century.
Yes. And he says that he got it at some munitions factory, and Doctor's like, I know that. I've been there once. Jack is like,
There's a Banana Grove now.
Yeah, Jack says it's not there anymore, like somebody like burned it down or something like that. And Doctor's like, yeah, I know, I told you, I've been there once. It's a Banana Grove now. So he's implying that he destroyed the munitions.
Bananas.
Yeah, I like bananas.
Bananas
are good. He's so fucking cartoonish. Yeah. Bananas are good.
That is like a famous line of his.
That he says bananas are good?
Yeah. I'm not even joking.
I'm sure you're not, because
him saying that, I feel like it's one of the famous lines, and I think it's because it's in this episode. But yeah.
Oh really?
These are popular episodes.
Yeah, we'll get into that at the end of this. I might make some people angry at the end of this.
Go for it.
It's implied that he turned the munitions factory into a banana grove because he likes bananas.
Bananas are good.
So they go into this like office, and Doctor says that something powerful and angry got out of there, out of the containment thing or the medical transporter or whatever. There's a bunch of pictures on the walls and drawings. So I think what you're supposed to assume is that this is that one doctor's office, and the kid was in the office and was making drawings and stuff, or is it just that it's creepy and like this was like a
I think the
therapist room, and
the child was left in this room.
Okay,
I think because it looks more like a communication, so they like had him in this room as like an isolation.
Okay,
and they were communicating like with all that equipment in front of the mirror or like the window that goes into that room. So I think that they were like communicating and trying to like speak to him because he's like not talking back. You can't take the mask off, like all of that kind of stuff. They're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So I think they were leaving him in here, and I do think that he probably was the one drawing all of those things. Otherwise, maybe it is other children.
Well,
but then that gets creepier.
Yeah, I was thinking that the drawings and stuff are other kids because the empty child only has like one track of trying to find the mom.
But maybe that's why it's all women. Because it's all, like, female stick figures.
Okay.
With a skirt and long hair.
Alright.
Skirt and long hair, over and over again.
That's also... Alright, that's possible. Because there's also recordings that they say... So they play these recordings. And they're these creepy recordings of the doctor... Not the doctor, but the other doctor.
Right.
The real doctor.
The medical doctor.
The medical doctor. Old doctor. He is talking to Jamie.
The child.
Right.
Right.
And he's asking him questions, and the only thing he's getting back is, "Are you my mummy?" Like a million times, like
Mummy.
usual. Yeah.
Mummy.
That's effective. I thought that was nice and creepy. Those
Yes.
recordings, they sounded good. Meanwhile, Nancy is being questioned by Ogre Patton Oswalt, and is does. Like if Patton Oswalt, looks like if Patton Oswalt and Shrek had a baby. That's what
Yeah,
this
you're
guy
right.
would look like.
You're kind of right. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. But yes, that is what you look like.
I was like, who is she apologizing to? Patton Oswalt, this actor, or Shrek?
Not Shrek.
He looked like Shrek.
He looked like Shrek. Are we gonna have that like every episode of this season where one of us says he looked like Shrek?
I don't know, Rachel. We'll find out. Keep listening, listeners.
Listeners? Listeners?
He's like, you're taking my food and you're doing this and that, and I'm going to call the police and blah, blah, blah. Would she like to help herself to anything else? And she's like, I'd like to get some barbed wire and a torch if I could. And he like stares at her because she says it so like confidently of like, you're going to give me some barbed wire and you're going to give me a torch. And he's like flabbergasted by this. And she says that she's been watching the house for ages and she wants to look at the cupboards. Because she knows that there's, like, this food and that food, and, like, the rations that they're getting, clearly they're getting more than what they're supposed to be getting.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to call the police because she's just going to tell them that they've got all this food, and then he'll get in trouble.
She's going to tell that he's also messing with the butcher, not his wife. He's the one messing with the butcher and getting more food. He's having an affair.
Oh, do you think so? Is that what was
line.
that implied?
Yes,
I did
it's
not.
It's implied that he's having an affair with the butcher.
I did not get
and
that
getting
at
them
all.
More food.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
one of the lines.
So he's sucking and fucking for meat.
Oh, good lord!
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, little sucker. Give it a little tickle and I'll give you a steak.
Tickle the pickle and I'll give you a steak.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay,
so...
There's a lot of that going on in this episode then, because Captain Jack's talking about it later on.
Oh, yeah, he talks about it constantly.
He sucks and fucks.
He's a horn dog.
Yeah.
He's a horn dog.
He fucks anything.
But
she's regular
says,
Captain Kirk.
He is worse than Captain Kirk. He is the worst captain of them all. Like, he is, the biggest flirt. Anyways, she says half this street thinks your missus must be messing with the Mr. Haversack the butcher. But she's not, is she? You are. And then she is, I want the wire cutters, I want the food, and I want the torch.
I'd ask for more if I knew that he was sleeping around in 1941 with the butcher to get more food. Okay. So let me make sure. Say that sentence again. Just say it one more time for me.
Okay. She says. It's an awful lot of food, right? Then she says, half this street thinks your missus must be messing with Mr. Haversack the butcher. But she's not, is she? You are.
Okay.
Wire cutters, torch, food.
Okay. Yeah,
yep.
I missed that.
I'm surprised you missed
that.
I
don't know how I missed
great
that.
Line.
All right. Well, there you go.
Tickle in the pickle for the meat.
Tickle and pickle for steaks and beans, aren't you, you little shit? You got Ogre Patton Oswalt looking bastard. So that happens. That gets Tubby to shut up, is what happens. And I thought all that was happening was she was saying he was using the black market. No. Much more. Alright. We go back to the doctor, and he says that there's something... You gotta do what you can. It's the middle of war. Your island is surrounded.
Yeah, you do what you have to.
You do what you have to. You do what you have to survive. That man's plight is quite large, Rachel. I want an episode just about this man. This terrible situation that he is befouled in.
You don't think he wants to do that?
Well, I don't think it... No, I don't. You know why? Because I think he offered his wife up to the butcher. like a
Oh, you think he
scumbag.
offered the wife
And then
like a scumbag?
and the butcher was like,
Wow.
I don't know, I get quite
What is
lonely
he like? Is he
here.
messing with his belly button?
Yeah,
Like,
he's fingering his belly button like in dodgeball. And he's like, I'll tell you what, if you wash my truck, we'll talk.
ooh,
So then he has to, dance with
fiddle,
the butcher.
do a little ditty.
So I don't think he wants to do it. He's not a nice man because he was going to offer
No,
his
he's
wife
not a
up.
nice man.
But that's some interesting stuff going
Interesting
on.
theory.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there's some shit going on here, and that happened constantly. I guarantee it.
Oh, probably.
Guaranteed. The flesh trade was alive and well in London in 1941 or whatever year this is. What the hell are we? So the doctor says there's something in the walls. He's putting together what happened here to Jamie. So he's saying that, like, this is his hypothesis. These kids come out during the air raids looking for food because they're brave enough. Because if you get bombed if you're an orphan, what do you care? So like
Right.
you're a scavenger.
You have
like,
nowhere to go anyways.
yeah, like what's the fucking difference if I'm dead or if I have food? They're looking for food during the air raids because that's when everyone goes to their shelters. Something happened. One of them got infected or altered. So now there's this mutated or whatever happened to him, infected kid who's walking around. He's afraid and he's powerful. He has the power of a god, and he just sent it to its room. So like now it's gonna be even more like, how dare you? I guess like he's afraid that he made it angry.
I think he just thinks it's funny that he sent a god to its room.
That's also
But then
true.
he realized, oh, this is its room.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
That's what
he
it
realizes
is.
that this is the room. So I guess that confirms that this is supposed to be where the kid
It was probably
here.
taken
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he thinks that this is the room. So now he knows that the kid is coming back here, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, the tape is over." Because like you hear the of like
Yes.
the recording,
And you can still hear going, "Mummy,
Yeah.
I'm here. Can't you see me,
but
Mummy?"
but that stops. The
Exactly.
stops, and like you still hear him saying "Mummy." So he's like, "Well, the tape ended, but you still hear him," which is again, it's effective because like it's
That's great.
So yeah, he sent it to its room, but this is its room, and they turn around and there's the boy. So he somehow got in the room.
Well,
Does
yeah,
he
he
have-
just walked into the door.
But the door was locked. They didn't lock the door.
Did they lock the door?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I'm just like, there is a door to the room, so they're in like the back part where the isolation was.
Jack says to get out, and he pulls out his gun, but the doctor has changed the gun to a banana.
That's right.
So does that mean that the doctor
he
just
pickpocketed him?
So are you now the doctor
This
as
goes
a character?
back to my thoughts with our fantasy draft, where the doctor is going to want to make sure confiscated materials get back to him because he's like, you shouldn't have this.
see the back catalog for the fantasy draft. All right. So I'm to believe
he pickpocketed him. He stole it from him.
that the doctor now, I know, walks around with a banana in his pocket at all times.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, just in
He
case
probably
he needs
has
a
some
shot
sort
of
of fruit
potassium.
in his pocket. Yeah, why not?
I'm just asking.
You never know when you're getting hungry.
He
You
says
need something.
he in fact says don't drop it. It's a good source of potassium.
There you go. I want that back.
I wrote down that there's a terrible sound effect, and then the boys six the other zombies after them, and they end up getting surrounded. Rachel, I don't remember what the terrible sound effect was. If you may indulge yourself, you might hear it. When he goes to shoot the gun and the bananas there, and then Jamie sends the zombies after them, it's somewhere in that area.
Oh! I know what it is.
Okay.
It's like the child is punching through the wall.
Yes.
So it's that really generic sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, Rachel will put it in just for you to be able to hear it because it's stock sound.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
that terrible sound effect. Because it's just this stock like punch, like you'd hear in like a 1980s kung fu movie or something.
Yeah, that or like in a video game.
Yeah, or a video game.
Yeah.
Like, why did they use that?
I don't know. It is a little odd. It is. That one's bad.
Something we would use.
It's something we would use.
The Doctor doesn't want to tell about the sonic screwdriver. And at first, I thought he didn't want to tell about the sonic screwdriver because he didn't trust Captain Jack. Captain Jack's like talking about like, oh yeah, I have sonic this and that and the other, like you don't know
Yeah,
about
like
that
he
kind of
has
stuff.
like big old like guns and weaponry and all of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's like, I have a screwdriver.
But he doesn't at first.
That's how he says it.
At first, he's like, because Jack's like, don't you have like sonic stuff? What's her name? Rose is like, well, yeah, he has a sonic, and like Doctor like tells her like, ah, da, 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 da. And I thought that was because he didn't trust Jack yet. But then later on, he just goes like, "It's a screwdriver, okay? I have a sonic screwdriver." So like,
exactly.
it's not because he didn't trust him; it's because he's embarrassed because he just has this like little screwdriver.
Right. I think it is. I think it's definitely the embarrassed by it because he's not a fighter. He's a fixer. He's a doctor. Right? That's like the whole thing. So why would he have something that's gonna like kill somebody that's sonic?
He's a fixer, folks. He's a doctor. There has to be a Doctor Who shirt that says "Trust me, I'm a doctor," right? Like that's got to be a thing.
Oh, I bet.
With a little picture of the screwdriver instead of a scalpel.
And the TARDIS.
So I think he's a bit embarrassed because Jack is so like self-assured, and yeah, Doctor's like, well all I have is the screwdriver.
And Rose was making fun of him before, right? With like the proper
Rose did make fun of him, yeah.
Ship and stuff like that. Like you don't even have like proper all of these things. You can't like beam me up, Scotty, and all of that kind of stuff. And
you float around in a police
Jack
box.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jack's hot too.
And Jack's hot.
And very sexually promiscuous, so you know he's got that going for him.
Promiscuous.
The battery, however, on the sonic gun isn't working because it's drained. And the factory's gone, so he can't get a replacement battery, so he has to wait for it to recharge. And the factory's gone because a banana is there instead, so there you go. Doctor asks Rose, where'd you pick this one up? Jack says, well, she was hanging from a dirigible. I can't remember which word he uses. It's a warship. And
no, I think it's a dirigible, right?
It's a dirigible. He does say what it is. I can't remember what he says, though.
Barrage balloon.
A barrage balloon. Or as I like to call them, dirigibles. It's a dirigible. It's
a funny word.
It is a funny word. I wish we still had dirigibles. It'd be fun to float around in a big balloon.
They're not really that safe, though.
No, they're horribly unsafe. But we could use a better gas than hydrogen, Rachel. I think.
True. No, you're right.
I think
they just have to look like a dirigible.
Yeah, I just want a big balloon to fly in.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, Jack says that she was hanging by this. What'd you call it?
Barrage balloon.
Barrage balloon. And he never stood a chance. And of course, Rose smirked at this. She does one of her patented. Rachel and I are both making faces at each other, but it's biting your tongue with your giant lips that Rose has. So yeah, then Jack disappears.
Yes, he just
teleports himself out like a dick.
Yes. Honestly, I think they're all thinking it. We're all thinking it.
You're all thinking it! We then cut to a scene with Nancy. A lot of these kids are at some shack somewhere, and she brings them all the food that she confiscated from the Dursleys. And one of the kids has a typewriter, so he's just typing away out of this typewriter. And Nancy's asking the kid...
He's pretending that he can write.
He's pretending that he can write. Rachel did this as a little kid. She loved typing on her grandma's typewriter. I loved that typewriter. Yeah,
it was great.
Typewriters are fun. They're fun to play with.
They are. That's why I like my mechanical keyboard. It has that same feel.
Because it makes the noise. Because you like to have that noise when you type.
Yeah,
makes it feel like you're accomplishing something.
It does.
Simpler times.
Important.
Yeah.
But so he's just tapping away.
He's tapping away. With there's no
writing
like
his
ink
dad
or
a
anything.
letter.
Is there ink or anything? I don't think there is.
Yeah, there's
even.
ink and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know how to write, right? Like that's the
he can't spell, he can't write. Yeah.
So he's like fantastically writing this dad a letter. He's not actually gonna. He's thinking in his head what he would write his dad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy is asking the kids, or telling the kids what they would do if she didn't come back. Like, you're supposed to go here. You remember to do this. all
Right.
this stuff because she is planning to go on what she thinks is a suicide mission, and she wants the kids to be safe, so she's telling them what they need to do.
Yeah. She takes care of them, so she wants to make sure that they're going to be okay.
They all seem a bit depressed about it because I think they know that she's planning to do something.
Yeah, you can tell that they're like, well, why would we want to think about you not being here?
She's got the wire cutters, and she emphasizes that they need to look out and after each other. So she says that she's going to the bomb site, and she explains to them that, like, okay, well, Jamie keeps coming and he keeps, like, haunting us, but he's not after any of you. He's after me.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I need to get away from you guys so that you can survive. So I have to deal with this on my own, which is a noble thing, and it's kind of true
course.
as well. Like,
Right.
Jamie is after her, so get these kids out of harm's way is what what she's
Exactly.
thinking. And then as they had this fight about the typewriter, and like that conversation is over, the one kid that was typewriting, Jim, is sitting there, and they're like,
Yeah, he like moved away from the typewriter.
yeah, and they're like, the typewriter's still going, and it's still typing. And the typewriter goes by itself, and I thought, and I was like, it's gonna say, "Are you my mummy?" It's gonna be a
Oh,
Shining
of
moment
course.
where it's just gonna say, "My mummy, mummy, are you my mummy?" like over and over again.
Right.
She looks at it and says, like, he's always coming, and she tells them to chew your food, and she like leaves.
Yep.
Do we ever get to see it say?
Yes.
It says it. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he picks it up. The older kid picks it up and looks at it and says, "Mummy, mummy, are you my mummy?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So like, if you were a little kid when you
That's
saw
horrifying.
this and you didn't see The Shining yet, that would be powerful. That'd be a powerful moment. I'd give
I
them
think
that
so.
on that. But
It's
it is just
creepy.
it's a Shining ripoff. But
I suppose, but at the same time, it's still like a good moment.
question about this
Because
though.
he's not. But the thing is, it's not a Shining moment because a ghost isn't writing it. This being is having the typewriter type itself. He typed the typewriter and left it there for her to find in The Shining.
Yes, agreed. Okay, but same idea. Similar idea of just nonsense on the typewriter, I think.
Yeah.
Question about this though.
Okay.
Because I can't remember if it's in this episode or the prior episode where the Doctor establishes that this being can go in and out of technological machinery.
First one.
A
Because it actually used the phone box, the TARDIS,
right. It
as
could
a
use
phone
the phone box. Yeah, and it went into the radio and
yes,
the
and then the
cassette
phone
player
at the
and
other
all that stuff.
house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A typewriter, while a machine
Alien
is
technology.
not electronic.
Wibbly wobbly. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Maybe it's more of pressure and something who-dadded, like blah blah blah. It's a little, it's pushing it, but it's machinery.
A machine.
It's a machine.
It's a simple machine.
Yeah, and he can move the things in the simple machine. So there.
All right. Okay.
I guess when we find out what is doing it, you can think of it that way.
Yes, because it's more alien than anything. It's one of those things where it's
those little bots. Like they probably are in the machine.
Yeah.
Making it work.
So it's just
trying to understand stuff.
It's a little more alien than or a little more pushed than what they were going for. Like they're pushing the boundary with that one being allowed.
Sure.
Back in the hospital, Rose says, "Why do all the great-looking ones do that?" Meaning like vanish on her, I guess is what she's saying.
Oh, sure.
And the Doctor, of course, looks at her cross because he's like, "What do you mean the good-looking ones?"
I'm trying not to be insulted and all that.
Yeah, and she's like, "I mean men." So she's trying not to hurt his feelings. And Doctor says, "Thanks, that helped." It didn't really help, but Jack is on the ship. He teleported back to his ship. They're surrounded, right, by all of these zombies again. And
I think they're just like locked into a like cupboard or janitorial closet or something.
Yeah, but Jack kind of talks to them and says that like he's got an omcom on the ship. He's going to try to like get them out of there, I think. And the Doctor's like, "Oh yeah, the child he can omcom too." And this is when he says like he was able to call into the TARDIS, and that should not be a thing.
Right. I can find you.
Yeah, the child like
I can hear you.
Yeah, like taunts them. Now, Rachel, this child appears very evil at this point by doing
At
that
this
to them.
point, he does seem like, I'm coming to find you,
Yeah.
Mummy.
Yeah, I'm going to find you, Mummy. We already played with our parents. Now we're gonna play with
us.
you.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
Pet
any
Cemetery
creepy
levels.
children.
Oh,
Yeah.
creepy children are the worst.
Creepy children.
Gangly,
Well,
creepy
I guess
children.
maybe he thinks he's playing hide and seek, and it's like, I'm gonna come find you, Mummy.
Yeah, I think that's the way to look at it. The more like innocent way to look at it, for sure.
I mean, it's a horror. It's like, this is a horror episode, so yes, it's scary.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the child's a little bit more innocent, and he's like, oh, it's like a game.
Yes,
This is a game.
this is a game. Jack plays Moonlight Serenade while they wait for him to be able to transport them out of there. And Rose goes, "It's our song," because they played it when they were both on the top of Big Ben or whatever.
Right.
Nancy, in the meantime, goes to break into the bomb site, and she breaks into it with the wire cutters. I don't know what she thinks she's going to be able to do, but I guess she's thinking like, okay, something happened to Jamie here. I'm going to figure out how to stop him or how to save him.
This is where it happened.
Yeah.
I think is what she keeps saying. So
Yeah.
she's like, I'm going back to where it happened.
Right.
And I think this is where the doctor wanted to get to too, because this is where that machine is that Jack brought.
Correct. The song is playing as they wait for Jack, and the doctor has an alternative attempt to get out. The doctor is trying some alternative attempts to get out. He's using the sonic screwdriver at the wall and stuff like that. And he asks Rose, "Why do you trust him?" Meaning Jack. And Rose says, "He saved my life. He's like you know, except dating and dancing and teeth grinding and whatnot." The doctor is insulted and says, "You assume I don't dance." He's like, I'm 900 years old. Of course I dance. Or whatever.
Is this a euphemism? Are we just going to say this is a euphemism?
Yes, this is
Same
absolutely
thing.
you.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
It is and it isn't.
I think it is and it isn't. I think it's obvious that, like, eventually we're like, yes, it actually means dancing, but at the same time,
Yes,
they
they're
keep
also,
using it
they're using
as
it
a
as sex.
euphemism.
Yes.
Yes.
They're using it as snoo, as you put it.
It's snoo.
It's lots of snoo. They're pretty horny in this episode, Rachel.
Lots of woohoo, snoo,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. Everyone's a little
This is a
little
horny
on edge.
episode. It's weird.
Yeah, a little bit. Rose mocks the doctor for not dancing or whatever she happens to be mocking him for. We'll say it's dancing.
Right.
You can see where this is going, right?
Of course.
So she turns up the music and she asks him to dance. Her mouth's doing all the acting in this scene. She's being very Rose Tyler, Billy Piper
Flirty.
flirtatious in this scene.
Yes.
Absolutely. And she says, "Come on, the world isn't going to end because the doctor dances." Which I hope comes back at some point in Doctor Who lore.
That the world ends when he dances.
Yes. That's what I want to happen. Here's what I was hoping for, Rachel,
Gotta
out of
think
this
about
scene. I was thinking about it. I was going to say...
Do you mean in the actually dancing sense, or do you mean
the
in
actual
the...
dancing sense? Yes.
Okay. Think
Like,
about that one.
like Steve Rogers. Because they actually use that as a euphemism too. I wanted them to dance to Moonlight Serenade like the world was ending.
Yes.
They don't really do that, though. And I think I understand why they don't really do that, and they don't really do that because they want the Doctor to be this 900-year-old alien that's very odd. And the way that Christopher Eccleston plays them is a Looney Tunes character that is very odd. So they're
Sure.
standing there. He's like looking at her hands and stuff and things like that. And he's like talking at the same time. He's not really getting into it. And I think it's to set up the ending, which we'll talk about. But I was hoping it would be more like the world might end. We've been through these adventures together. Like, let's just dance and hope that Jack gets us out of it.
Oh, sure. But I think his brain just always is working too. So like he's thinking and trying to get out of this and then realizing something at the same time. So I think he was probably could have been swayed into doing the dance at the end of the world, but his brain was like, wait a minute.
And
I
I'm just saying
realized something.
I'm just saying that's where I kind of wish it was going. Like, and I get that that's cliched probably. Like somebody's going to be like, that's too cliche. This is better or whatever. That's fine. If you like that more, that's fine. But for me, in my cliched brain, I'm just going like, that would have probably worked for me if they would have done that. But I get it. I get that that's not the Doctor's character or whatever. So,
Well, I
that's
feel
fine.
like it is, though.
To
It
di-
might not be this one, maybe. I guess, like, just in general, I would think it is.
Okay.
I
don't think it's Christopher Eccleston's Doctor.
It might not be Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah. I don't think it's the way that he is the Doctor. Like that, the personality that this Doctor has, necessarily.
Right.
So he tells her that you're setting a new record for jeopardy and peril type stuff. And he thinks it's weird that she doesn't have a bruise from hanging from the barrage balloon. And he says that Jack fixed her. And now they explain the nanogenes. They're able to get onto the ship. And they explain that it's these nanobots that repair and fix stuff.
Okay. Who is talking and how are they talking? He's just telling you all of this?
They end up getting teleported onto the ship.
Yes, but see, right before that, she's like, no, we're gonna dance, and she's like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
I think you're just like have a fixation, and they're like about to dance, and they're very like into their own little like world.
See, I didn't think they
and
were.
that is them, but they were because they didn't even notice they were teleported, and that's Jack's whole point. Like,
yeah,
you guys were having a moment.
Yeah, I suppose so, but like.
They were starting to have that moment.
One of them, they were starting to. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, I guess they were like setting up for it, and I would have been fine if they had the moment there. I don't think they ever have the moment in this episode. And one of them says that didn't look like dancing, and the other one says that didn't look like talking. I think Jack says that didn't look like talking, and Rose says that that was not dancing or whatever.
Yes.
Because the doctor
like
says,
dancing,
like, it was just talking. Like, he even kind of says, like, we weren't really dancing. Because I think that's why I'm saying, like, he doesn't get into it. He's thinking, like you're saying.
Yes and no.
I feel like we're being so pedantic with each other.
Well, because I feel he avoids attachments.
Sure.
So even if it does look like it's more than talking, and he's like pretending it's only talking.
All right.
He's pretending it is. It might look like it's more, but he goes,
That's
no,
fair.
no, it can't be. It can't be. I'm pulling away. I'm pulling away.
All right. I will give you that because of the fact that, like, he is this PTSD doctor who's lost his race.
There you go.
So he doesn't want to be connected to them.
He doesn't want to have a connection.
I'll concede that point there as part of why he wouldn't dance.
Especially when he's like an ever-present being that can't that lives for hundreds of years.
Right. Now they explain what the nanogenes are, and they explain that these things are nanobots that repair and fix stuff as they kind of find it, and they're able to repair like Rose's hands because they were all burnt up from the rope. Nancy gets caught while breaking into the bomb base place, so now she's caught. And we get a little bit of backstory about Captain Jack. He says that his memories were stolen by the time agents. He lost 2 years, so I guess like 2 years of his memories have been wiped out or some such.
Right. Exactly.
He wants them back, and he doesn't know what happened. And he even says, like, the doctor doesn't trust him, and for all he knows, he shouldn't trust him, because he doesn't know what he was before he lost those 2 years.
Yeah, like, what happened in those 2 years?
Yeah, so
he doesn't have a clue.
He's a Wolverine mixed with a Superman, mixed with a Captain Jack Sparrow, Captain Kirk. Yeah. Which is fine. It's they're trying to set up this character. I think he's a good character. We'll talk about Boomtown. When we get to Boomtown, I'm like...
That's fine.
I'm like, back it down a little bit there, Captain Jack.
You want to know something? He doesn't.
No, and then he doesn't, yeah.
And he won't.
Yeah, and then he gets annoying, and I'm like, you need to knock it down a couple of notches.
And he won't. He refuses.
So they put Nancy in this room with an infected soldier, and she begs them not to leave her with them because she sees the scar, so she knows that he's going to turn. And she's like, you can lock me up literally anywhere. Just do not leave me in this room. Yeah. I think it's a little unreasonable that they wouldn't do that. She's like, look, I'm not going to... Like, for all they know, like, she's basically telling him, like...
Just take him away. Yeah. I'll stay here.
This guy is sick. You cannot leave me with this sick man. And they're like, oh, Balderdash, you're just some orphan that...
Bullocks.
For some reason was coming into this bomb site We don't know why. Looking for food, perhaps, or whatever. And we're just gonna...
Spy.
Yeah.
I think they think she's
German
a
spy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of this happens. She gets locked in with this guy. And they
Makes me very uncomfortable, because he does look like he's, like, sick and...
Yeah, he looks like he has the flu. Like, he looks sick. And it's like, I don't want to be left alone with this guy. He's gonna puke or something all over me. As the captain or whatever is leaving, they even brush off that he calls them mummy.
Yeah, he says mummy.
Yeah, so it's
He
like...
goes, what? It's nothing, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's like, it's happening.
Right.
The guy turns a bit. It's kind of zombie-esque as he begins to turn.
Yeah.
Like
he does.
They're definitely playing off it like it's a zombie virus where he like turns that way.
But it's true. It is like a zombie virus. The way that it spreads is definitely zombie virus.
Yeah. It has that same idea. Well, yeah, if he touches you, you turn, and then it becomes airborne or whatever, yeah.
Right.
We get an Avenger-esque music of our heroes getting to the yard. The Rose, Jack, and the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Rose sees the guard, and she says, well, I should be able to distract the guard. Does her mouth acting. And Jack's like, he's gay.
I know that one.
I'll do it. So,
yeah.
So
he's a friend, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's just one of Jack's many trollops that he's had over the centuries.
Yeah, just another notch on his belt.
Oh, Jack got along in like the Roman and Greek times. He was having orgies.
He loved it. You know he was there all the time.
Oh, he goes there.
Hopping.
That's like his vacation. Is he's just
probably
there.
That's all he left in those 2 years was just him having orgies with everybody.
Mm-hmm. I thought, yeah, when he said all, yeah, it was just 2 years. I lost 2 years of orgies. I don't remember anything. So, the doctor is like, he's a 51st century guy. He's a little more flexible with his dancing. So we learn that he is polysexual, I suppose, is what
he is anything and everything.
He fucks everything.
That's
that is
right.
what the doctor
Anything that'll move and give consent.
If it breathes, he's fucking it. I was thinking about some of the creatures we've seen. I was like, yep, he fucked the skin flap.
Oh, 100%.
He fucked that little genie guy.
The tree.
The tree. The tree and him, they did things that are illegal in most states.
One of the Slovene cousins.
Definitely one of the Slitheen. A couple of the Slitheenes at the same
That's
time.
right.
He had a threesome with the Slitheenes.
Yeah. Yeah. The pig.
The pig?
Yeah, the pig in the Slovene
the
episode.
pig. Yeah, definitely the pig.
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
mm-hmm. The mannequin, the wax. What was it? The plastic.
I don't remember what those were, but yeah, the mannequin.
That was
thing.
the first one. It was just made of the plastic, and it was just like the goop monster.
That was an accident, though. He thought that was just a sex doll, and then it turned alive. I mean, for all we know,
the butthole monster.
Oh, of course, the butthole monster.
Oh my god, the big pimple.
So
what else have we seen? Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, a Dalek. I would not put it past Captain Jack to have sex with a Dalek.
He would try. He would try.
He would try. Don't think he hasn't tried.
The words distract the guard heading in my general direction.
I don't think that'd be such a good idea.
Don't worry, I can handle it.
I've gotten to know Algie quite well since I've been in town. Trust me, you're not his type. I'll distract him.
Relax, he's a 51st century guy. He's just a bit more flexible when it comes to dancing.
How flexible?
Oh, by his time, you lot are spread out across half the galaxy.
Meaning?
So many species, so little time.
So the general guy calls him his mummy, and we see the transformation of the gas mask, which is so bizarre when they try to do this
it's a little
CGI
weird
thing. It's like they're trying to do like a werewolf type transformation, but they can't quite get it right.
Well, because it's like the gas mask comes out of their mouth and then it becomes their face.
Yeah, very
and it,
odd.
Forms from their skin.
Yeah, it's
so
creepy.
Odd. It is creepy.
The doctor tells the other men to stay away because they all like run up to him now, and it
like to save him or help him.
And they say it's become airborne. Meanwhile, Nancy is keeping the infected all at bay by singing to this guard.
Yes.
Assuming that like she did that with Jamie or whatever.
Right.
The doctor hears her singing, and they come in and they rescue her, and they, like, get her out of there. With the sonic screwdriver, they use it to, like, break the handcuff.
Right, exactly.
They go to the crash site, and Jack insists that it's just a hospital. He's like, see, just a hospital. And he goes to open it, and it sets off an alarm. It crashed, so now it's got, like, some emergency protocols on it.
Exactly. The emergency protocol is probably going off and going nuts. And
Jack's a little brazen. Like, he should have kind of known that was going to happen. But, like, I think he's trying to, like, prove to the doctor that, like, you're wrong, doctor, this is fine, or whatever. And then, like, he fucks it up, I guess, is kind of the idea.
I think it is more of, like, a oh crap moment.
So it alerts all the infected to go to the ambulance because it's still connected, I guess, to this ambulance in a way.
It's all the nanobots. The nanobots came from the ambulance.
So is this when we learn
all
that?
The nanobots are
nanogenes.
connected.
So, like, these nanogenes were in the transporter, and so, like, that was the problem. But, like, is that why they would still go back to this ambulance? Because it thinks, like, it's...
Because it's connected to it. Yeah, because it's trying to help
Oh, you know what?
people.
I think
it's trying to fix them.
I think that
That's the whole point.
The doctor even explains that this was, like, it's an ambulance, but it's a field ambulance ship. So it's
It's like for
wars. So he's saying that, like, yeah, it transforms and it fixes, and then you end up, it turns you into, like, a warrior. Like, it, like, makes you, like, more of, like, a better warrior or something like that. So now they're, like, programmed to go back to the ship.
It's like a quick fix, too.
Yeah.
So I think it's supposed to, like, figure out what are you supposed to be, what are you supposed to have. All right, here, let me fix you. But it couldn't figure it out with Jamie because he was so blown to hell because he got hit by a bomb. It didn't have, like, something
they explain
to work with.
The doctor says that...
It fused, like, the mask to his face.
The doctor says that it doesn't know what a human is.
Right.
So the only thing that it sees that a human is
was what he
a
looked
face
like.
mask and the scar. So they're like, I guess this is what everything is supposed to be. So it's changing everything to look like Jamie did, but turn him back alive. And the last thing that they could see before he died was he was asking for his mummy. He had the gas mask on. So they're like, okay, this must be what humans are. We'll just make everybody look like this.
Right. So everybody's, like, broken because we have to fix everything. So yeah, it is connected to that field then.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, something's wrong. The emergency thing is going off.
That's an interesting twist that, like, it thinks that it doesn't know what a human is and it's just doing its job. So it's, like, trying to fix it.
It's trying to find a map. Yeah.
Trying to find, like, like what its genes are. And it's like, I guess that this thing just looks like this. So why don't all the...
Right.
You think it would be smart enough to be like, how come this is the only one that looks like this?
It's just working quickly. It's working fast. It's like, I gotta just fix everything I see.
Doctor sends the girls to reattach some of the barbed wire to buy them some time because all of the infected are coming to attack them. And if they can at least stop them from being able to get through the barbed wire for a little bit, they can figure something out. As they're doing this, Nancy asks Rose, like, who are they? And Rose is like, we're time travelers and all this stuff. And Nancy's like, I don't know if I can really believe that. And she's like, well, why not? And she's like, well, it's not the time traveling thing because, you know, gas mask people are trying to kill us. However, you're not German. And then Rose explains, like the doctor did in the first one. So I thought this was kind of a repeat because, like, the doctor already explained to her that they win, but Rose
well, she immediately was like, whatever. She just brushed him off.
True. And I guess it's Rose doing it. So, like, Rose didn't know that the doctor said it. I was just like, we had this same conversation in the first
But she doesn't believe there is a future. She's like, yeah, okay, you're just telling me that we're going to win because everybody keeps saying we're going to win. But how is there a future with this?
Oh,
They're bombing us. Everybody's dying.
What's
going to happen that you think that we're going to win?
Yeah. Well, Rose explains that she was born in this city and that they do win. This is when they get the thing open and they say it's a Chula medical transporter. See, there's nothing here. The nanogenes were here. The zombies come in to get them. They're waiting for their commander because they aren't attacking them. They're just all standing at the perimeter, like waiting for orders.
Right.
And they're waiting for the child commander. So here comes Jamie, and he's like, Mommy, 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 as he does. He just wants his mummy. And Nancy says, this is all my fault. And they're surrounded by the gas masks.
That was also explained, is that the nanobots are also trying to find the mother, because that's also going to give it a map of what the child is supposed to look like.
Was that explained?
Yeah, he mentions it. Something like that, yeah.
He
I think
says
maybe it's after he gets hugged, but still.
Yeah, I think it's after he gets hugged. But yes, that is what the explanation ends up being. Yes. This leads the Doctor to realize that Nancy is like 21, and it isn't her little brother, but it's her kid. I didn't go back and look at what the age of this actress was. I guess I should have, because I was like, she looks way younger than that if she is supposed to be 21.
I always thought she almost looked 20, at least. But yeah, I mean, she probably had him when she was a teen, and then she's trying to make herself look younger.
Well, because the Doctor even says it. You're a single teenage mother in 1941, or like like you went into hiding.
So she's probably like
you had to pretend
like
this was
18.
Yeah, like you had to pretend like this was your little brother. Like you would have been hung. They would have killed you. Okay, let's see. Florence Hoth is the actress.
How old is she now?
She was born in 1984. She was 21 when this episode came out.
I figured she was like 20.
So she's older. That means that she is older than Rose. She's older than Billie Piper.
Like by a year.
But still, like she looks younger. I
didn't think so. I thought they looked the same age,
right.
in my opinion.
All right. I thought folks at home, let us know.
So you thought she was like 16, 17?
I thought she was younger than Rose. I think Billie Piper.
I mean, they were trying to make her look that way.
I think Billie Piper looks older than 19 too, but I thought that this girl looks younger than Rose.
Oh, okay.
That's just, I don't know.
No, that's fine. They did their job then. They got her to look younger.
So like that's the twist of the episode, is that Nancy is not
she's the mother.
Sister. She's actually the mummy that Jamie's looking for.
Right.
Do you want to know what I can't remember if it was the writer or if it was what's his name, the producer of Doctor Who that produces everything, Davies. One of them said that there was a deleted scene or a deleted part of the script that explains that the father was in it a little bit as like a voice to Nancy, almost Terminator-esque. That got deleted too.
Interesting.
But and then at the end, or at some point, it was revealed that the father was German, which is why this kid's like a little towhead German kid. He looks like a German kid. But they deleted all that. I don't know if any of that would have added to the story. I don't
think it would have added to it.
They said it was supposed to add to her guilt, but it's like, why would... So she slept with a German and had this kid. Like, why would that have... I guess because he could have been a Nazi. Because it would have been
think most of her
30s.
Guilt just came from the fact that she couldn't protect him.
Yeah, like I don't
think that's all the guilt I need to see and hear.
She took care of all of these kids because somebody had to take all of these kids.
Right.
Care of all these kids. So yeah, yes. I'm with you. I'm glad that was cut. I think that would have been a bad addition. That would have been weird. Just because it wouldn't have added anything.
Right.
Doctor tells Jack that it's Volcano Day and do what you've got to do, and Jack teleports away. Says goodbye to Rose at the same time. Or is it? Does he say that now? Or he says that later? He says it later. Doctor says you need to tell him to Nancy. Like, you need to tell him that... So, are we to believe then that she has lied to him too? That she's told Jamie that I'm your big sister?
Probably so that he wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
Probably so that he wouldn't accidentally say something and
he would call
screw
her,
up the whole
He would call her
facade.
mummy at some point, yeah, definitely.
Right.
I mean, at this point, when you guys were like living on the streets because wherever you've been hiding out has been like blown.
She's just doing it so he doesn't get confused.
Okay. Because as I say, like,
she's gonna be motherly to him anyways, so he's gonna see her that way anyways. But
it is interesting then that his last words would be for his mummy and not for Nancy, because he never met his mummy. Then he thinks that they've been orphaned. I'm not trying to like poke the hole in it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess anybody would, like, if you're scared and all of a sudden like that's happening, I guess that was just a natural reaction to say mummy instead of Nancy. I have no idea.
It's very possible. I don't know. Luckily I've never been in a situation where a bomb is about to fall on me, and I hope I never am, but
I'd never even say that. I don't even want to think about it.
Hey, we've been over this. If the end of the world happens, you want to be there right where it's landing, because then you don't even have to worry about anything.
Or as far away as possible.
Or as far away as possible. And nowhere in between. There are two
Nowhere in
options.
between.
So he tells her that the future of the human race is in Nancy's hands. She kind of walks up to Jamie as Jamie's walking up asking for his mummy, and she says, I'm your mummy. And the kid comes to her, he keeps just asking it, and she says, I am your mummy, I'll always be your mummy. And she hugs him. That would have typically, like, transferred the virus, but the nanogenes are smart enough, I guess, to figure out that, oh shit, we were wrong.
This is what a human's supposed to look like.
This is what a human's supposed to be.
They got the map. They got the
So they
piece
figured
that they
out.
needed.
I feel like the doctor could have, like, gotten one of these things and, like, tinkered
I
with
think
it.
that was the plan. He was trying to get into it, but the emergency protocol went off. They couldn't get in
Sure.
to do anything.
Yeah. I guess him and Jack might have been able to. Like, you'd have to keep Rose away.
Right.
And, like, if they were like, look, Rose is human.
Yes.
And, like, try to do that. So the nanobites are fast
21st
enough.
century human, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It works. And the doctor is like, oh, please give me this day. Please give me this day. Just once. And it works.
Just one day. Yeah.
And it changed them. And the doctor is in euphoria. This acting by Christopher Eccleston, I know what he's going for. I guarantee you, and you're probably one of them, Rachel, that really love his, like, ha ha, fantastic, when
yeah.
it works. And I know what he's going for because he's a weird fucking alien. But to me, it was like, I was taken aback a little bit by it. I was almost taken out of it because of the way he reacts to it. I don't know if I can explain. It's just, it's so inhuman that it makes it hard to connect to.
Why
the
was
way
that
he
inhuman?
plays it.
He was really hoping that the kid was coming back to life. I don't understand why that's inhuman.
It just doesn't, it feels, and I know this is weird to say, it feels over the top or something to me. I don't know why. It just didn't feel natural.
To pick up the kid and be like, oh my god, you're alive, you're not a monster?
Not to pick up the kid.
Because that's what he does. He does that, and he's like, fantastic, this is amazing, I'm so happy that, like, the people are going to be saved.
Maybe not the moment where
Because he was like, I think he was losing hope at this point.
Maybe not the moment where he picks up the kid, and that would be fine. I don't think I didn't get that he was losing hope. I guess that's what I'm saying. I didn't get that he was in such disarray at this point that it sold the ending. And I get that death follows him around. It's not the boy. That part I get, where he, like, lifts up the boy or whatever. It's more when he, like, blows so he collects the nanogenes after Jamie is saved, and then he, like, blows the nanogenes toward all of the gas mask monsters, and they, like, all turn human. And I think then is when he goes, like, aha! Really, like, explodes into euphoria. That I just felt like was a little overdramatic compared to the other things that he's done in the series so far. But the point is that nobody died, and death follows him in, like, every single one of these adventures. Somebody died.
Yes.
And nobody dies in this one, so he's happy about the fact that, like, for once, death didn't follow him.
You want moves, Rose? I'll give you moves. Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. Everybody lives.
Right.
So I totally get what they're going for. I'm just saying, for me, it didn't completely work.
Sure. I guess, like, knowing the story and the different doctors and their personalities and how they kind of, like, work, this one always felt like he started a lot darker in a lot darker of a place that was kind of like, everything sucks anyways, and I just have to deal with all this.
It's more
death.
nihilistic. Okay.
Yeah, and then as, like, these stories progress, he starts becoming a little bit less like that.
Okay.
A little bit more hopeful. And at this point, he's like at a peak of, like, no, I'm gonna let this happen. I don't want to be like, just let them die and just try to fix and stop it. I want them to live. You know, it's so I think he forces it, and yeah, it is over the top, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much.
Okay.
But that's where I'm, like, seeing it.
No, I can appreciate what you're saying. I will have to, if I rewatch these, I'll have to go back and kind of see if I pick up on that, because I agree, like, the whole point of him is that he's kind of nihilistic because of the Time War. So I get what you're saying about, like, you see the progression as, like, okay, now he's like, finally, I'm getting to get a chance that in one of these damned situations, everyone lives.
Yes.
And stuff.
Right.
Before they can all enjoy this, he asks Jack. Jack traps this bomb. The bomb is about to land, and Jack traps it with his ship. In like a tractor beam.
With like the beam, yeah.
It's in stasis. And he's like, it's in stasis, it's not going to last very long though. And the doctor asks Jack to get rid of it. And this is when Jack says goodbye. He goes,
right.
Rose.
Because he knows what's going to happen.
Goodbye. And leaves. It's a stilted reading. I don't know why it's stilted.
It is?
If it's because
I don't know why he says it that way.
I wonder
Rose, goodbye.
I wonder if it's because he's on a green screen, he like wasn't on set with them.
Maybe.
But it is so stilted. They should have done another take.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Him saying love the shirt, though, makes up for that a little bit. So.
Oh yeah, of course. Love the shirt.
This is when the doctor then spits the nano genes back at all the people, and they all turn back. Everyone.
And better.
And better, yeah. It fixes all of their, like, ailments and stuff.
Because he says to the doctor, like, you're going to have to do a little bit of explaining that you're like, you've helped these people and we've helped these people. And then the woman goes, well, look, I didn't have a leg, so.
Yeah, and then the doctor's like, well, it's been war. You just possibly miscounted them. So that's the.
Which was actually kind of funny. And he seemed confused by it, too. Like, yeah, I'm just going to let that one go.
Dr. Constantine, that's the name of the old man doctor. Yeah.
Yes.
Doctor tells Rose everybody lives just this once. I put he looks fucking insane because he's just like, everybody lives,
he does look
Rose.
Insane.
Everybody lives! Like a mad scientist.
Yeah, that's about he's a madman with a box. It makes sense.
Dr. Constantine says, we seem to be in an unused railway station, and the doctor goes, cutbacks. So that's his explanation for why they're there.
Yep. Well, he doesn't want to say aliens.
Well,
he
no.
doesn't want to say anything about aliens. It's
No,
just
he
going to
can't.
have to be a anomaly.
They detonate the ambulance because they're like, well, this thing was supposed to blow up anyway, this whole, like, area, so, like, who am I to argue with history? And Rose, with a good line here, says, usually you're the first in line. And then, like, they go back to the TARDIS. The doctor is beaming like Father Christmas, Rose says, and he goes, who says I'm not? And tells Rose that he got her a bike, which he could have just known that she got a bike one year.
Yeah, I think that was just a good guess.
What's implying.
He's not Christmas. He's just.
Do you want me to tell you something that was supposed to be the next episode of this season and they dropped it? In the original plan, do you know this? The doctor was supposed to be grooming. I'm using that term in the more literal
Nice way?
sense. Yeah, not the pejorative
okay.
way that everyone uses it. Grooming Rose to be the perfect companion.
I would assume, yes.
So he was, like, watching her. So he literally gave her the bike.
I see.
Like,
so he went to her past and stuff.
so it's like a leftover line from when they were gonna do that, and then they dropped it. They dropped that, like, concept that, like, the doctor's been, like, behind the scenes, like, trying to make Rose the perfect companion.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. I see.
I'm glad that they got rid of that too. I wouldn't
Yeah,
have liked
it would have
that.
been too much for now.
It'd been
yeah.
kind of creepy.
A little creepy.
Yeah.
Little creepy.
I like it more that it's just happenstance that they
Yes.
came together.
Right. Well, yeah.
I always like happenstance a little more than fate. It always feels more cool.
When it comes to Doctor Who, there's a bit of both, though, because of fixed points and timelines and all of that kind of stuff.
Understood. Yes, but that
So
I can give it that.
It's less fate and just more of a fixed point.
Sure. Rose is like, well, what about Jack? And the doctor won't answer because he knows that, like, Jack knew he was, like, on a suicide mission.
Yeah, like, why did he say goodbye? He's just, I know what he's doing.
Jack is in his ship, which I kind of wish this ship would have lasted, too. They could have had two ships traveling together. Why not? He's asking how long the bomb can be in stasis, and they're like, well, it's not going to be very long. And he's like, okay, well, can we jettison it? And they're like, no, it'll blow up the second you, like, get rid of it in stasis, and it'll take us out, too. Can it go in an escape pod? And then they're like, there is no escape pod.
He can't go in an escape pod.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's like, so I'm going to die. And the ship's like, affirmative. And I thought, couldn't he teleport using his teleporter? He has a teleporter. Why doesn't he just use the teleporter?
I think because it was set to only go back to the ship. So I don't think it was
Oh,
like
it's just
one that
from
would
the
teleport
ship
him
to
anywhere.
yeah,
I think it's
okay.
like wherever he is, he can get back
He
to
can
his
get back
ship.
to the ship. Okay, fine. I believe
That's
you.
my explanation for
That's good.
it.
That's a good one. He gets a martini knowing that he's going to die, and he accepts it. And he says the last time he was sentenced to death, he got his executioners drunk and fucked them. That's not what he says, but that is what he
But that's
means.
implied.
Yeah. Nice couple, he says.
Oh my god.
The camera backs up like it's going to end. And I thought that's how the episode was going to end, because like it's just kind of like backing up. But then you end up in the TARDIS. The TARDIS attaches itself to the ship or whatever, and then they're there, and he's able to just kind of walk in. And the Doctor and Rose are dancing.
They're dancing.
Rose,
the Doctor dances.
Rose is trying to teach him to do it, and he's like, "I'm sure I used to know this stuff." And he welcomes Jack to the TARDIS. Jack says it's much bigger on the inside. And I think the Doctor says, "You better be," which I didn't know if that was a dick joke or a personality joke.
Wait, hold on. I don't know if I missed that. Is it a dick joke? You better be bigger on the inside.
Yeah, that's what he says. And I think it's supposed to be implying more so like, yeah, Rose is making me get you, so you better be better than like your superficial facade that you're putting on.
Probably that.
That's what it's supposed to be.
I like that better.
But it could also be, how big's your dick?
Yeah, that feels about right. This is a very horny episode.
The Doctor turns on Glenn Miller and then embarrassingly starts to dance. And it's so
Isn't it the
embarrassing
Charleston?
and cringy that I could not stand it.
Yeah, I think that's the point, because I think she's like laughing too, and then she's like, "I'm gonna dance," or like Jack wants to dance, or
She asks Jack to dance, and the Doctor says
Yeah, but with
something to the
who?
effect of like, "Yeah, I'm sure he does want to dance, but with who?" Because he's just making fun of him for being gay.
me or her?
Because it's 2005, so it's like, yeah, this big gay over here who wants to dance with me.
I guess that's kind of what it is. But I think he just keeps like
They're making
pushing
gay
down
jokes.
the fact that he will like have sex with anything.
Sure, yeah, it's more that he's just making fun of him for his promiscuity.
I mean, the actor is also extremely gay too, so it works
very
out.
gay.
But
yeah, they're making
very gay,
very gay, the gayest. But they're making jokes. They make jokes in the next episode too, like gay jokes, back and forth to each other. Yeah, a little bit.
Oh well.
There's one.
But I feel like that's allowed.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's like, I'm not saying they're like bad or anything. I'm just saying like they're
funny. That's true. But they're always flirting with the fact that, and you never know, like maybe the Doctor probably swings any which way as well.
He was gonna fuck that tree, Rachel.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's gonna fuck the Slitheen in the next episode. He's getting there.
I guess you're right.
They begin to dance again, the Doctor and Rose. It's awkward and stilted, and there's
and silly.
You can hear the TARDIS metal. They should have probably cut out that sound effect to make it a little more lived in and brought the music out a little more. And I think that the ending would have worked better. And if you weren't hearing the as they walked around, I think that would have worked better. Like I said, I would have preferred if they would have done a slow dance as they danced to their deaths, but that's just me. And then dance in celebration. I just wanted a little bit more of that, Rachel, and I think that this moment would have felt a little more earned for me. I know I'm in the minority on this. That's just the way my brain is thinking.
You wanted more of like the nice dancing?
Yeah.
Actually, Doctor, I thought Jack might like this dance.
I'm sure he would, Rose. I'm absolutely certain. But who will?
And that's the end of the episode. It ends with them dancing and goes to our What's Next on Doctor Who. And that is the end of whatever the Doctor Dances. Of course, that's the end of the Doctor Dances. Which I think you're right. They're using it as a euphemism both ways, and then they literally dance at the end of it. So Rachel is come to that time where I will tell you my thoughts on this, and then you can tell me what the professional Doctor Whovians think here.
Oh boy, now I feel way too much.
I know, because I've looked. People love this episode.
Absolutely.
They love the episode before this, but they love this episode.
They love the connection, both of them together, yes. The story.
I have to say, and I know I'm going to get shit for it, and that's okay. I can be in the minority. That's fine. I was underwhelmed. I thought the first part was very good. Mm-hmm. I thought this was okay. I thought the first part was way better. I thought this episode was underwhelming. And maybe it was because I just saw people saying that these two are like their favorites or whatever of the Eccleston Doctor, but it didn't hit the beats for me. Now, you've made a lot of good and salient points about this episode, so I might, if I do a rewatch on it, I'll have to go back through and I'll have to see like, okay, I see the progression and I see it. I'm not saying it's a bad episode at all. I can't remember even where I've got it in the rankings right now without the last 3 episodes in it where I put it in the rankings. But compared to what I thought we were going to get because of how the first half started, where it was like actually creepy and serene and stuff like that and eerie, this was a little underwhelming for me. But I think it was still probably good. It just wasn't as good as I was hoping it to be.
Sure. That's fair. But I'm hoping that just noticing that this one had hype didn't also like ruin that for you.
I'm hoping it didn't. And I had to look. I looked. You end up looking at like both of them or like the ratings for both of them because you're trying to find the ratings for The Empty Child after I watched The Empty Child to like be able to prep for that recording. And then you see it and you're like, oh, people even say that this one's like, awe-inspiring. And I was like, okay, so this one was pretty good. That means that the ending of this is going to be really good. And then when I got to it, I was like, it was fine. So I'm sure that had a little bit to do with it too. Like I said, I'll have to rewatch it and see. But anyway, your thoughts. Do you want my
thoughts? And then we both say whether... Oh, I guess we're not talking about this on the shelf, right?
That's right.
We're not doing that with this.
Right.
Okay. I do really like this like full storyline. I do really like it. And I think I explained it a little bit earlier, but it's one of those progressions of the Doctor and seeing his arc and seeing how he's changing and how he's going from, people die all the damn time to... I'm going to save them. And it was a big moment. And that did hit me when I first watched it. I can still feel that watching it again. I still feel that moment. I know it's very over the top, but it's one of those where it's just like, this time everyone gets to live and you kind of feel it. And I like that. And I do love the little monster is just a child and it's just like taking over, and Jack is like charming and kind of fun and a little wacky, and it's one of those where it kind of brings all of the elements of Doctor Who together. Okay. The little creepy, alien, wacky, the Doctor becoming like a bitter piece.
Yeah.
In the world.
I can absolutely respect that.
Being a part of everything.
Yeah,
you know?
I absolutely can. I can
trying
absolutely
to push him to be better.
Understand that. I can absolutely see where you're coming from. I can absolutely see where, as a fan, you would say like, nope, this is like peak Doctor Who. And you've said it at the beginning of when we started this. Like, this is not my type of sci-fi. This is not my type of genre. No. So I'm like for me right now as we stand, Father's Day was, to me, I was like,
so interesting.
That was peak. But
so interesting to me.
But
But it makes sense. That was a stronger one. Dalek, very strong.
And Dalek. But I understand if you're a fan of Doctor Who, why this would be a high point of it. For me, I was just like, oh, I expected more. And I'm saying expecting more. More is a bad term. I expected different. I expected something more in my wheelhouse, probably, and I got something different. Fair is fair. We'll see where it ends up at the end of the season. Like I said, I might just have to go back and rewatch them at some point, but we'll see. That was The Doctor Dances. Coming up next, after a break.
Boomtown. I'm sorry.
All right, fine, Rachel. What you do it? Send us to the break.
You do it.
No,
I don't want
to
do it.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm leaving. You do it. You can do it.
You have to come back. This is a duo. This is a team thing. This isn't a Rachel rant.
Okay.
This isn't a Kevin Says corner, Kevin
Fine.
corner.
Fine.
This is Shelf Life.
Coming up after the break, after word from our fake sponsor, we will get into the next episode of I almost said of South Park. I don't even know why. My brain is gone after all these episodes of Shelf Life, and we've only been doing it for 2 years. Coming up next after the break, the next episode of Doctor Who, which is what, Rachel?
Boomtown.
Yes, Boomtown.
And no, it's not a Western.
Unfortunately.
Join Captain Jack Harkness and Rose Tyler as they come face to face with the evil Slitheen and Space Pig. Be scared as the Daleks reveal their mutant within. Run from the living plastic autons and learn the truth from the face of Bo. Doctor Who Series 1 action figures and other playsets.
From character.
And we're back with another episode of Doctor Who. This one is what, Rachel?
Boomtown. We already said that before the break.
Well, people might have forgotten after that 30-second ad
Well, it's
break.
Boomtown, all right? It's Boomtown.
Forget it, Rachel. It's Boomtown. Originally, this was supposed to be called Dinner with Monsters. Better title.
I think that is a better title. Because Boomtown makes it sound like a Western. I can't get over that. And then Dinner with Monsters sounds way more fun.
Russell Davies said that joked that the best title would have been My Dinner with Margaret, which I also would have enjoyed.
I also like that.
Yeah. Both of those are better. What is this episode about, Rachel?
So we go back to London in Rose's time. They're kind of just hanging out, shooting the breeze right now. The Doctor is allowing connections, all right? So see, this is my point about how he had no connections and now he's kind of like evolving, right? I'm just saying.
Okay.
What?
No, I would argue that there should have been one episode in between these that we could have seen them grow. Because
sure. I agree.
They're very chummy, the three of them at the beginning of this episode. You get that. You get it. But
yeah, you know that something like
they've bonded over the 6 months or whatever.
Right. So we're back in this time, and we end up finding out that one of the Slitheen. Why do I always say Slovene? Is it Slovene or Slitheen? Slitheen. We found out that one of the Slitheen is alive. The female one or the feminine one, I don't even know what you would call her. I don't remember her name. She's got a crazy name. She's alive. She's still in doing politics and doing some crazy stuff with the humans. And they also find out that she's still there. And it just kind of like goes from there.
So the Slitheen is back. The woman
One
Slitheen.
of the Slitheen.
Yeah.
Yes. Margaret.
She's become a mayor. Or the mayor of Cardiff, maybe. And she's planning to blow up the world again.
Well, we know that there's something she's planning. We think she's planning something.
Yes. And so our group of heroes go to confront her about it. This was not on the original docket, as I said, that this was going to be an episode where they unveil that the Doctor had been a part of Rose's life forever and was trying to make her into the perfect companion. They abandoned that concept. And they really liked the actress that played Margaret, whose name I cannot find anywhere for some reason. And I'm trying really hard to find her name, and it's not coming up on any of this stuff for some reason.
Annette Badland.
There you go, Annette Badland. So they thought that she did a really good job with the character, and they wanted to bring back at least one of the Slitheen. So they were like, why don't we bring her back? We'll do an episode where Margaret got away or is alive, and you can do something there. So they ended up having her on the show and then having her as like part of this episode. So that was like the concept behind it, how they were able to like justify bringing her back. So yes, this episode is supposed to be about what they say in it. It's supposed to be about the Doctor dealing with capital punishment and the consequences of him stopping the bad guys, I guess, because as she points out at some point in the episode, he cuts and runs, he saves the day, and then they take off and they go to another adventure. But as opposed to, having to be there and dealing with the consequences of what he does, or like what he saves and who he stops.
And like cleaning up the mess and actually like following through.
Yeah. Now, I think that the episode, we'll talk about it. That was the theory, or
we can talk about it now if you want to, and then get into the walkthrough. No,
because I was just going to say, like, I feel like as the episode goes on, as they talk about that, I think that here's what Russell T Davies says. The episode was a character piece exploring whether the Doctor had the authority to take someone to their death sentence, as well as showing the consequences of the Doctor's actions the last time he met Margaret. It was fitting for Eccleston's war-torn Doctor. The consequences of the Doctor's lifestyle is also explored through Rose and Mickey. I would argue that maybe it's just my own personality, because I'm like, yeah, the Doctor doesn't have the authority to sentence her to death, but he's not. He's kind of saying, like, you tried to blow up the world. I'm taking you back to Rexachlorocal Phlebotorius.
Right.
What else is he supposed to do? He just, like, you can't just let her stay on Earth. You know what she's going to do. So I guess her point is then just take me to one of the Slitheen family. Well, we'll get into that. That's why I'm saying we'll get into it as we get into the walkthrough.
And she's just saying, like, well, they'll just say that I get the death penalty. And my point to that is, well, that's your species. That's your justice system.
Yeah.
What exactly do you want the Doctor to do about it?
Well, and that, like, I think that's where it becomes kind of a flimsy approach to being because I think it was supposed to be about capital punishment, and it's like, it's hard to do that when you're talking about a character that tried to blow up the planet.
Yeah, like, she's a bad person. She's a bad alien.
Anyway, we'll talk about it as we go into it. So let's talk about Boomtown, or My Dinner with Margaret.
I like My Dinner with Margaret. I'm just renaming it.
It starts actually with, like, previously on Doctor Who, and it shows you all the Slitheen stuff. And then it starts with, it's 6 months later. Mm-hmm. From, I guess, the previous episode, it's actually from, like, the previous timeline.
I think it's actually when the Slitheen stuff happened.
Yeah, I agree. Because we haven't really been back to 2005 since, or 2006. Right. So now it's 6 months later. Oh, I should say that this episode was, he loves the Slitheen, Russell Davies does. So this was written by Russell Davies. It was directed by Joe Arane. A-H-E.
We did this last time.
J-H.
We did. I'm not joking.
I know we did.
We looked it up.
A-H-E-A-R-N-E.
Ahern. I don't know.
Okay. Joe Ahern. Whatever it is.
Irish television writer and screenwriter.
Oh, it's Irish.
So I think,
yeah, it's a very Celtic name.
Ahern.
Who knows how to pronounce it?
Sense.
Yeah. Anyway, he directed it. It debuted on June 4th, 2005. The first scene is there's a man that is talking in a office-looking area. Mm-hmm. He is saying that this design will cause mass destruction, and it needs to be stopped because it's going to explode or it's going to cause all these problems. A woman says she will stop it, and he's like, are you sure? Like, you actually are going to stop it? You're actually going to do the right thing? And she's like, yes, of course. I have no choice. And it turns out to be the Slitheen, Margaret. Or, as we learn later on in the episode, her name is Blonfell Foch Passamer Day Slitheen.
Yep, there you go. Blonde.
We'll just call her Blonde or Margaret. So she promises to stop it, and as nothing is more important to her than human life. And she asks, right. And of course then she's like, does anybody else? Okay, folks at home, this is a lesson for everyone out there. If you ever stumble upon something that's going to cause some sort of damage, or if it got out to the press, it could cause some problems for someone, what have you.
Yes.
If the person you're having the discussion with ever says, does anyone else other than you know about this?
You say yes. Always.
You say yes. Everyone knows about this. I don't know what you say there, because I feel like you have to say no, because you don't want to
threat?
Yeah, I feel like, are you threatening me is probably the answer.
I think that would have to be the answer. You just ask another question. Are you threatening me?
Yeah. You know what it should be? It's Should anyone else know about this? That's the question. That's the question.
You gotta do the bribe hand, like
The finger thing means the
Who
finger
doesn't need to
thing
know
means
about
the
this?
money. Because if you answered no and you think that the person you're talking to could be evil, they're gonna kill you.
Yes, because then she also says, "What do you take me for, some sort of maniac?" I'm not some sort of maniac. Who says that? Maniacs.
I thought she even said a monster, but maybe she did say maniac.
Probably. Either way.
That's just free advice for the people at home. I'm just telling you.
Also, any politician saying that human life is what they care for the most also creeps me out.
It is probably one of those lizard people living in the hollow earth.
Damn straight.
Isn't that's a thing, right?
That's right. Yeah, the lizard people. They're the ones who are in control of the government right now.
Yeah,
and they
that's
don't
right.
care about human life.
Folks at home, we're going to talk about this a little bit here. I have been saying that the Slitheen have been in charge of Cardiff for years, and this is just further proof.
It is further proof. Because this is all the truth. This is all real. This is a documentary.
It's a hell of a documentary. He goes on to say that this is such a weight off of his mind because he's like, I haven't been able to tell what to do, and I wouldn't where to go or anything. And, of course, in the background, she's unzipping. Because for whatever reason, all these Slitheen have to attack and kill when they're naked from their human suits.
Well, do they, okay, here's my question with that. Do they, how do they kill them? Because most of the time they were killing to take their human suit to wear. So are they, slurping the insides out? You know what I mean?
It's a gross image, but it's possible. I think when they're doing it to get the human suit, yeah, I think so. I think they are,
so
as you so eloquently put it,
stab him,
slurping the insides out.
Yeah.
But she explains later that they all are trained to be hunters and killers, so they can't be
she
slurping
just wanted
everyone.
Sure. So maybe
they're not Captain Jack.
No. So maybe she just needed her body so that she could actually, act like the animalistic part, the huntress that she is. And you know what? Naked is beautiful. What is it? What did that guy say in the first one?
Oh, he says something about your body's beautiful. It's something
something about
that.
Naked. They want to be naked
so
too
free
at the end.
And naked, yes. Victory should be naked. I'm pretty sure.
Victory should be naked.
Yeah, put
That's
that
right.
on a t-shirt.
Slitheen are just nudists.
They are.
I'm back to that. I swear.
He says that this architect or whatever this guy is, engineer, he says that it seems like it was intentional. If he didn't know any better, that the way that this plant was built, it almost seems like it was designed to explode. And he says, well, thank goodness we have you, though, our fearless mayor, or whatever. And he turns around, and there's the Slitheen, and she kills him, and cut to credits. Did we
miss something in the last episode, now that I'm thinking about it?
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay, so we did, technically.
It
was just a reference to the bad wolf stuff again. I don't know if you caught that in there, because they even
in
said,
the Dr.
that
Dances
keeps coming up. Yes.
They in this
the
one
German
they do.
equivalent Schlechter wolf
is on the bomb or something.
Yes.
Yeah, I
didn't
missed
mention that. We didn't talk about that. I forgot to mention it. It just popped into my head, and I was like, damn it.
One thing to point out in this episode as well, in my opinion, Rachel. So I've talked about the British television style, where it has a soap opera-like lens on it, because I think that they're using a tape and not film in a lot of these old stuffs, so it has a soap opera look, or a British sitcom, as I have said in my life. That's not as big of a problem in this, but there's another British TV show trend that I noticed throughout this episode, and I don't know why, and that's the Vaseline lens. There's a
the
glare
dirty lens.
everywhere on this fucking
I hate
episode.
It always looks like it's a dirty lens, like it got wet. I hate it.
Why is that the style? Why is that a
know.
thing for this episode?
I don't know.
Because it looks like shit. I don't understand what style it's supposed to be. I do not like it at all.
folks at home, if there is some sort of intended tone that I'm missing by this Vaseline lens look, please let me know, because it would normally be like a romance or like angelic is supposed to be what it looks like.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Half the time it looks glowing, half the time it looks like a really dirty lens.
Yeah, like
I don't really get it.
What are we supposed to be getting out of it with this? I do not get it. So regardless,
I guess it's just their way of saying this is the present, because it only seems to happen during the present. It's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know. If there's anyone out there that understands the British film language, I should say not British, but film language.
The damn British!
Well, because I've noticed it in more like British produced stuff. There's American produced stuff that does it too.
Oh, absolutely.
But I do feel like British television does it a little bit more. And I'm like, why is that part of the style? Like, can someone explain that to me? Anyway, we are at Cardiff Station. And Mickey makes his triumphant return to the series here. So we get Mickey again. And he goes into the city square area, and the TARDIS is just sitting there, so he knocks on the door. And Jack answers, and Jack's like, who the hell are you? And Mickey's like, oi, mate, who the hell you be? Because Mickey's, Mickey. And he tells Jack to get out of the way, and Rose and Mickey hug. So they're reunited.
Yes.
This is when Jack asks the doctor why he doesn't get any of that kind of action. And the doctor says, buy me a drink sometime. And Jack says, you're so much work. And Doctor goes, but I'm worth it. So they're doing little like diddly 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 like back and forth stuff.
You look fantastic. Oh, sweet. Look at these two. How come I never get any of that?
Buy me a drink first.
Such hard work.
But worth it.
So you're learning that they've bonded in between the episodes, that they've been on these adventures, that it's the Three Musketeers now between Rose, Jack, and the Doctor.
Right. There's more companionship, there's more connection, there's more friendship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which I'm back and forth on this because I'm like, one episode in between to show that the Doctor has gained trust in Jack would have been nice.
Sure.
That would have showed them bonding.
Right.
But you get the idea in this episode with the way that the three of them act, so you don't need it. I'm just saying it could have been a nice add-on to have that in there.
Are you sure this isn't that in between?
No, I don't think it is. This feels like the three of them have been on adventures.
Multiple.
Yes.
Okay.
To me, it feels that way. The way that
I think they have. At least they've been to at least a couple of places before this.
She mentions a few places that we haven't seen, so they either happened before Captain Jack came along or after Captain Jack came along. The reason that they're there is because the TARDIS needs to refuel, and they're going to use the rift from the Charles Dickens episode to refuel the TARDIS. So it's like going to take a couple of days. So they're just like hanging out in Cardiff in the present time until then. And when they're like, we're going to go into time and space. And as they say it, they have this like 3-way clap thing that they do. They've been there for a little, like they've been doing corny. Shit. Yeah.
Right. I wonder if that's a callback. I wonder if that happens in any of the past ones or something.
Like
and that's
some
what
old,
they're making fun of.
Doctor Who?
That's what I'm wondering.
The way that they say time and space like that?
The way that they do that, it feels like they're making fun of Doctor Who.
It could.
Or something. They're making fun of something that has that same spirit and corniness.
Mickey gives Rose a passport. The Doctor's like, why would you need a passport? And she's like, well, it's fine if we're on Platform 1 or the glass period of San Kalan. But what if they end up somewhere on Earth, like Brazil or something? And she goes, I'm prepared for anything. And she does her patented tongue curl. Like, it is the most Billy Piper tongue curl I've ever seen. It is like...
Yes.
If
the
anyone...
most exaggerated one.
If anyone wants to know what Billy Piper as Rose Tyler is, show them that 5-second clip of her saying, I'm prepared for anything, tongue curl. It is like the most... It's what I think of when I think of Rose. Mickey asks if she's staying, but wants to know who the handsome guy is. She's like, oi, I'm fine with you being here with big ears. Well, who's this handsome guy over here? And Doctor's like, big ears? And Mickey's like, look in a mirror. So, he's still Mickey, he's still a Doctor. They have a mutual respect, but they still don't like each other. The Doctor explains that the TARDIS is designed to hide. So they leave because they're like, yeah, we're refueling. We're just going to spend the night in Cardiff.
Yeah, they can go walk around now. That's no big deal.
Yeah, so they're like, let's all go to lunch. And the Doctor explains that the TARDIS is designed to hide wherever they are, but it got stuck as the police box, which I think you've explained to me, Rachel, in one of our past recordings, that the TARDIS is supposed to, like, if you were to land in Rome...
It's got a chameleon thing.
Yeah,
yes.
It would look like a Roman pillar. And he landed in Britain in the 1960s, so it looked like a police box, and he can't change it because the circuit broke.
It's like, yes,
and
the
Mickey's
chameleon
like,
circuit is broken, and he likes it the way it looks.
Yeah, because Mickey's like, why don't you
So, like,
change
why would
it?
I fix it?
And he's like, I like it like this. And even Rose is like, I like it too. And she, like, hugs the TARDIS. Did you notice that? She, like, gives it, like, a big hug. I thought that was kind of cute.
It is kind of adorable, yeah.
But Mickey's like, but it's a police box in the middle of 2006. And he's like, Mickey, what do you think people are going to do if they see a police box in the middle of 2006? They're going to walk away from it. Like, I just wanted him to
Right,
go,
like, they're not going to care.
Mickey, shut up. And then just move on. That would have also been acceptable.
Sure.
I think a lot of this episode is trying to give some backstory to the TARDIS. Like
probably just a little bit at least.
The beginning does, the ending sort of does. It's like giving a little. It's supposed trying to give a little character.
A little
to the
bit more
TARDIS.
like what is the TARDIS? Like why is it
Who
the
is
way
it?
it is?
What is it?
Well, that could get answered in the future episodes. You never know.
And then that immediately cuts then to the Slitheen Lady Mayor celebrating the project being approved or whatever.
A nuclear power plant.
Nuclear power plant is being built. And she is saying that Cardiff Castle will be demolished for the Blyde Droog project to be done. As long as she walks upon this earth. Because she's saying, like, I know that there's a lot of questions about nuclear power and is this going to be safe and all of this stuff. And she says, as long as she walks upon this earth, no harm will come to any of her citizens. And they all do a little applause.
Get it?
Yeah, because she's planning to ditch the earth and then blow it up. They do a toast. A tepid applause for this toast. I thought was it very interesting. Like they do this like little applause and she goes like, and I promise you. She reminds me a bit of Harry Potter, what's her name?
Oh,
Umbridge.
Yes.
She's got a little Umbridge in her.
She's got a bit of an Umbridge about her. Yes. Is there something with smaller, squatter women that the British have like a thing about?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember if there was a Scottish older woman in Paddington that could have fit that mold, but there should have been. And then
there should have been. I mean, honestly, I kind of wish she was now.
Mrs. Doubtfire was an evil hag. Let's not forget that. But Robin Williams also was tall in that movie, even though he's short in real life.
He was a big woman.
Big, beastly, bulging
woman. She was
woman.
big beastly, and yet he is smaller.
He's small. So
that's interesting how that works.
We'll get to that, Rachel. Mrs. Doubtfire is on the list.
I think so.
So there's this tepid applause, which I thought was funny, because it is very like, yeah, all right, it's fine. Because she goes,
it glows.
The future will glow. She's clearly strange if she's not evil. Like, everyone in this room should be like,
yeah,
this woman is odd.
This one's weird. Our mayor's weird.
They try to take a picture of her, and she's like, no pictures, I said. And she clearly doesn't want any publicity. She's like, you can take pictures of the project, you can talk about the project, but I don't want to be in the paper at all.
Yes.
And a reporter comes up to her and asks her if she thinks that this whole thing is cursed. And she's like, cursed? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, I thought it was a bunch of bullocks too. It was just one of those little stories for the paper. But the more I looked into it, there's a bunch of deaths with the project. And then there's like a couple of jokes. Very Russell Davies. I'm noticing his scripts have more jokes in them. This type of humor. So it's like, there were those one guys and she was like, well, they were French, which I thought was just going to be the end of the joke. Like, who cares? They were French. But the end of the joke is that all the safety instructions were in Welsh and they couldn't read them. And then there's some other thing. And then she says, well, what about the architect? And Margaret goes, it was raining. I couldn't slow my car down. So she
that
just
was like,
ran somebody
what
down.
did you expect? Yeah, she did.
the number of deaths associated with this project. First of all, there was the entire team of the European safety inspectors.
But they were French. It's not my fault if danger explosives was only written in Welsh.
And then there was that accident with the Cardiff Heritage Committee.
The electrocution of that swimming pool was put down to natural wear and tear.
And then the architects.
It was raining. Visibility was low. My car simply couldn't stop.
Pretty good jokes. I'll give them that. I liked those jokes. The reporter...
He slipped on an icy patch. He was decapitated. It was a very icy patch.
Very icy, yeah. And she's
murdering people left and right.
The reporter says that she found postings of the last person that was killed online, and she's like, how did you find those? She was like, well, if you know how to look. The guy had posted all these, like, issues that he found with the project. Mm-hmm. And Margaret says, maybe we should have a word in private. And she takes her to the ladies' room, and as she's doing this, she's, like, farting and stuff, because she's a Slitheen, so she can't keep the gas inside.
It's her gas suit, yep, mm-hmm. It's a good excuse to get out of everything, though, you know.
Oh, I need to go poop? I'm farting?
Yeah. Nobody wants to be in the room when you're just farting.
You can do that as a human, Rachel. If you can muster a fart
it's a great
up,
excuse.
You can fart and be like, oh, excuse me, and leave. I love how old and shitty all of the Cardiff stuff, like all the inner office stuff looks.
Yes, it looks dirty.
American government buildings look kind of drab too, but in a different way. These British government buildings, like you're saying, Rachel, they look dirty and old.
But I feel like every government building looks dirty and old.
It's like a specific, like it looks like a grandma designed it. Like the American government buildings look very like plain.
It's English.
So literally the Queen was like, I would like the bathrooms to look like this.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's the motherland, right? So it is like, you know, it's gonna look old.
It's a different dirty. Like American government buildings are very institutional, functional, like square rooms. Yeah, this is this.
Right.
All of these are like, there's just like red tile and like,
but then it's also dirty tile.
It just looks so bad. Yeah.
They tried, like, here's a design, but then we're never gonna change it.
Yeah.
It's gonna get dull and discolored, whatever. It's fine.
It's funny how it looks, but anyway, I like the design in that way, where it's just like, everything looks like shit. Speaking of, so she ends up going into the bathroom stall, and she just... Like, it literally is a shit joke. It's just, like...
It does sound
immediately
like gross. Shit. Yes.
And the reporter's even like, oh, I guess we got here just in time, which is like, if I'm the reporter, I'm writing this down.
You do not make a comment.
As the mayor... Yeah, first of all, don't make a comment. And second of all, you just write down, as the mayor shit loudly in the stall. So the reporter is saying that the guy said that it was going to be worse than Chernobyl. He even thought that it could be a nuclear holocaust. She begins to unzip this bad effect of the human suit being unfolded so that the Slitheen head could come out. I guess it's as good as they could do with CGI. I wish they could come up...
It's like a stretch, right?
Yeah. I wish they could have came up with some sort of practical way to do it, but this was probably cheaper.
Well, it is practical. Because I think it is the practical suit being stretched and just shoved and moved, and then the CGI part is the weird
head.
Alien just kind of like bopping out of it. So yeah, I think that's as good as they're gonna get for now.
That's as good as you're gonna get. Margaret asks if she's going to print this info. She does it with her alien voice, so the reporter's like, you're right there? And she's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And then the reporter is like, yeah, I'm going to, because it feels like someone has to do this, and
right, you have to report the facts, we have to tell the truth.
It seems pretty substantiated as something that should be reported, so she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And she's like, that's a shame. And she gets ready to, like, jump her as a Slitheen. She's gonna, like, pounce and kill her. But before she does, the reporter's like, yeah, my boyfriend thinks I'm mad about it, though. And that stops Margaret, and she's like, boyfriend? And she's like, yeah. And then the reporter just goes and tells Margaret, like, her life story. She's like, yeah, we're getting married in 2 months, or 2 weeks, I can't remember what it was. And my mother, it's basically just to make my mother, like, stop asking about it. He's a civil servant, and he does all these things, and, you know, he wasn't born in Cardiff. It's like, lady, why are you telling this?
Well, it was more of the baby cinched it.
Well, the baby
the
sister,
bigger
because she's
deal.
like, oh yeah. She's like, but I'm just saying, like, you're giving.
Oh, yeah,
you're
she's just
giving
telling
this, like,
everything.
and maybe you think, as a reporter,
She's just a little
as an
little
experienced
newspaper reporter.
you might be like, if I give her a little bit of information about myself, she might be more willing to open up to me. But I don't think that's what's happening.
Potentially,
I
but
think
I don't
that this
think
woman
so.
is just blabbing.
I think she's just blabbing, which I feel like, that's fine, but
And she says, like, the baby cinched it for us to get married. And she's like, you're
Yes.
with child. And she's like, yeah, just 3 months and this and that and the other. So this stops Margaret dead. She decides to not kill this reporter.
right.
She cites the fact that she has no family. And she's like, I once had a sizable family. Maybe I am cursed. And then she tells the reporter that she's going to be a while and they'll have to do it another day. So she's like, you know what, I'll leave my information with your people and we can talk
Right.
later. And so she like had a change of heart because
Right.
she didn't want this woman that has like a future with a family to be killed.
Yes.
I guess.
Even though, she's going to destroy the earth.
Even though she's going to blow up the earth. So yeah.
It made her feel bad, which I think is the whole point, is it actually gave her like a heart for a second.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the gang are having a meal on the dock. Jack is telling this story. They're having a good time. But then the doctor sees a guy reading the paper. He yanks it out of this dude's hand because he's a dick, because he's the doctor. And he sees Margaret's face. So he sees that Margaret has become the mayor. And he's like, just when I was having a good day. So he's just apparently been on cloud 9 since the previous episode. So he's like,
Seems like it.
we gotta do something again.
Right. Yeah, that poor man. He was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's
dude?
even like I wanted him to have an even bigger reaction. He kind of looks up like,
Yes.
all right. But I wanted him to be,
Okay.
like, if you were in literally 50 of the 50 states and somebody ripped a newspaper out of your hand, you'd get like
You'd
a
be like,
what the
fuck?
fuck? Yeah, like that's the least you'd get. In some states you get punched in the face, and in some states you might get shot. That's just like,
Well, that's the sad part, yeah. You could just get a dude.
you could just get a dude. That's fair.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
This guy
It's a
gives him
newspaper. Who
a
cares?
very understated reaction.
Yeah. It's not even like a what? Like, he doesn't even give a face. He kind of just like looks around like, okay.
He almost looks around like, all
all
right,
right?
is there another paper? Because this guy, like, that's the reaction.
Apparently this guy wanted this one.
They go over to the city hall now, a la superhero team. They've been kind of like, the score even is kind of superhero-esque. Like the way that they're walking in, the 4 of them. Jack goes over the plan and he like talks about how each one of them is going to take a different exit as they try to like corner her and get her captured or whatever. After Jack is done with all of this, the doctor's like, hey, who's in charge here? And he's like, oh, sorry. Your orders, sir. Or awaiting orders, sir. The doctor goes, right, here's the plan. Like, he's like, I think that's like that's a thing that's been
nice
said a
plan.
few times, right? Like, right, here's the plan. What he said, it was a nice plan. So
Right.
that's the joke. And they all turn their cell phones on to some sort of sync so that they're able to like
I think
call
that's
each
the
other.
joke, like the sync with like the watches, we're making the times all synced type of thing.
Yeah. I got it.
It's like the spy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think
Yeah.
that they like were all connecting the phones somehow.
You know what? I agree. Maybe it was like we're going to have walkie-talkies. We're turning the phones into walkie-talkies
Yeah.
type of thing.
It's something
Yeah.
like that.
It could be.
They
I
all
like
kind of
walkie-talkies. They're kind of fun. They're always useful.
they were.
Yeah, we use them all the time. We use them on vacation all the time.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't
We used to
remember
take them
doing
to
that
like
at all.
the theme parks and everything so that we could
Before
talk to
cell
each other.
phones?
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember.
We would
this at
always
all.
have like, yeah, because those like, if we got separated, we had the walkie-talkie.
Huh.
And you just bloop, and talk to them.
All right.
How
I
do
mean,
you
yeah,
not
they're-
remember that? We used them all the time.
Can vaguely. I really don't remember.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna have to ask Mom.
She's gonna pull them out.
Oh,
She's
I'm
gonna like,
sure
we're
she's
taking them
got
on the next vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that seemed like a non sequitur. You're just like, I like walkie talkies. Walkie talkies are fun. It's like this.
I'll delete it.
No, you're not deleting it. If
Yes,
anything,
I
it's going in
am.
the trailer for you to be like,
You're
"Oh,
going in the
walkie-talkies." Mickey looks like, because the three of them walk off, and Mickey's like, all right. He's almost like, I almost want him to be like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't want to be a part of this. Like, that was the whole point.
I think he does want to be a part of it, though, and he just doesn't know what he's supposed to do.
I think
he feels a little left out of, like, what's the plan actually? Like, what am I supposed to do?
I think if it was anything else, he'd be like, oh, man. But because it's a Slitheen, he's like, I have unfinished business with this creature. So I think he's a little more on board for it because of that.
Yeah.
The doctor goes to see the mayor, so he goes to the mayor's office. And this assistant is like, who are you? And he's like, I'm an old friend. Just go in and say the doctor would like to see her. And he goes, Doctor who? And he goes, just the doctor.
Just say the doctor. Just say the doctor.
I was like, good for this guy. He gets to say Doctor Who. We haven't had a lot of actors be able to say Doctor Who.
That's
this
true.
Guy gets to say it. So she walks in and you hear a cup shatter because she was having her tea. And the assistant says she is up to her eyes in paperwork. You're going to have to come back another day. And the doctor's like, she's climbing out the window, isn't she? So then the doctor just busts into the office and she's climbing down a scaffold and they all go into action.
Yes. Right.
The assistant stops the doctor and is like, please leave the mayor alone. And I'm like, what loyalty does this guy have to the, like, if a man,
I don't know,
if
honestly.
any man shows up and your boss's first reaction is to run out of the office and down
to
a
jump
scaffold,
out a window? Yeah.
You might be assisting the wrong type of person.
The wrong kind of people? Yeah, I would think so.
Mickey stumbles on some stuff, like on some cleaning stuff. Jack jumps over like some catering stuff so that you get the difference between Mickey and Jack. But Jack is experienced in this.
Yes.
Again, Mickey's getting the shaft of being like the butt of the joke when it's
the
like
bumbling
he's just
idiot.
a dude. Like he's not a captain.
An oaf.
Yeah. The Slitheen lady takes out some jewelry and she's being surrounded.
I do like that she does like the hissing stuff too. It brings out the alien in her.
Yeah, Rose is approaching her and she does like a and like the actress actually does a good job of making it sound like the way that the Slitheen voice sounds. She does a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
So the jewelry ends up being a teleporter, so she teleports. But
God knows where.
Yeah, that's a good question. Where did she teleport herself? But the doctor stops that with the sonic screwdriver. Like
he reverses it.
He reverses it because he's overpowered, and he's able to stop her from doing it. Eventually, she gives up.
It's a sonic screwdriver. I don't know what are you complaining about?
Everyone knows that sonic screwdrivers can override teleportation equipment. Everyone knows that.
It's because of the sonicness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The fuck are you complaining about at home? I don't know. Shut up. That's why. Why did you think a giant bubble would stop her? Shut up. That's why. That would have been pretty sweet if Captain Jack took out a giant bubble.
Blows a bubble.
And threw a bubble at her.
Just floats her in the air.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed that. Instead, because this is low-budget Doctor Who, eventually she just gives up. The Doctor steals a line from Steve Rogers, or vice versa, technically, and he goes, I could do this all day. And he does. And that's the end of that. And the Slitheen lady is like, whatever did I do to you? And the Doctor goes, you tried to destroy me and this entire planet. And she goes, apart from that. It's one of my favorite lines where somebody's like, apart from my own actions, what did I do to deserve this? Which is all, I love that mentality. They take her back into the conference room where they have all of the blueprints and stuff of the plan for this nuclear plant. And she's trying to claim that this is a philanthropic endeavor. This is where Captain Jack Harkness's acting by the actor
John Barrowman.
So John Barrowman,
I think is how you say it, yeah.
Acting as Captain Jack, I thought was a little over the top. And again, I understand that he is a 51st century man that is also a former time agent or whatever, so he's going to act a little odd. But he's like, this thing is going to go, whoa! And then it's going to go, and it's going to, whoa! And I'm like, tone it down, Jack. Why are you acting like this? Stop. I don't know if that was the direction that he was given, like that's the way that this character is supposed to act or whatever, but it was just like, why are you making these noises? Stop it. Just stop it, please.
I mean, he does it once, but yeah.
He does it twice. He does it
All right.
twice. He does it twice. Rose is like, how come nobody evaluated this, like London, or nobody, like the rest of England didn't evaluate this, or the rest of the UK didn't evaluate this? And Margaret goes, we're in Cardiff. No one here cares. And she says, oh, look at me. I sound like a Welshman. I've gone native. It goes back to that joke about, like, all the jokes that they said about Cardiff, where, like, nobody cares about Cardiff and all this stuff. So, like, they're almost doing it the opposite direction now, where they're, like, talking about how they like Cardiff, but, like, nobody cares about Cardiff.
Right.
Mickey keeps referring to her as she, and Margaret goes, she has a name. And Mickey goes, she's not even a she. She's a thing.
Right.
It's kind of clever. It's clever enough of Mickey.
Sure.
The Doctor then shows that she is clever because he pulls up the part where the nuclear plant on the diorama is demonstrated at. After he, like, pulls it up, he shows that it was some sort of Doc Brown skateboard contraption. It's like a platform
like Jack
that
calls
teleports
it a
you,
or like a surfboard.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
platform that teleports you off world, or can teleport you off world. I can't remember what they call it. Rachel probably has the name of it. It's some sort of platform that allows her to teleport.
I'm looking to see if I can find the name of it. Oh, good lord. A tribophysical waveform macrokinetic extrapolator. It's too much.
Too much. Yeah, so it's
And then
that.
he does do the bubble thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's annoying.
he does.
It
He
annoys me.
is like very. I think it's just because he's very energetic.
Yeah, I
He's
think
very
so.
high energy, very energetic.
I think so too. It's just it's a little off-putting when he's doing like the like the onomatopoeia stuff to me.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
The Doctor is distracted by the name of the project, though, because as they're having this conversation, he's walking off and he's looking at the sign of, what did I say? The Blade Droog, yeah.
Yeah, Blade Droog.
And he looks at it and he's like, where'd you come up with this project name? She's like, it was random, like it just sounded good and it's Welsh, so I went with it. And he's like, it means bad wolf in Welsh. And Rose is like, I've heard that before. And they're both like,
And I think it does the music too.
Yeah, it does the Rose music that, like,
Yeah.
the good score. And what does it mean? And the Doctor goes, probably nothing, just coincidence.
Just a coincidence, yeah.
Rachel, is he lying, or does he really think it's just a coincidence and it was just like a moment of
I think
clarity?
he's concerned. I think he's concerned about it and thinking about it, but he doesn't want it to be the focus.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's just something he's pocketing in the back of his mind right now.
Okay. Because I didn't get from the performance he actually was concerned, if he is. To me, it was like, no, I thought, I mean, like,
he
if
does the Bugs Bunny smile just to, like, put people at ease.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I couldn't tell if he actually was concerned and he's just telling Rose, it doesn't mean anything. I thought he was like, it's probably just a coincidence. Like that's more of what I got out of it, more than he's telling Rose that.
I don't think the Doctor really believes in coincidences.
He's like V from Vendetta.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only character I could think of that says it. I don't believe in coincidences. I would agree with you that he's doing this as a way to placate Rose. And he actually does think that something is
interesting with these two words.
They'd celebrate Rose saying the planet name right, which is what, Rachel?
Rexacoracle Flabotorius.
Yeah, exactly. So she gets
You're
it
welcome.
right. She gets that right, and she like runs into the Doctor's arms to hug him and be like, "I did it! Yeah!"
Yeah, it's dorky. It's silly. Yeah.
And Margaret says that they have the death penalty there. The Slitheen family was found guilty, and if she returns, she'll be executed. And the doctor's like, that, okay. That's not
Right.
my problem.
That's your problem and your, like, civilization. What do you want me to say? Like, come on.
It's an extradition treaty. I don't know what to tell you.
Right, and technically then you're evading the law,
Yeah.
right? So I really should take you back. Right?
Well, that's
Like-
I guess that's supposed to be the ethical dilemma. The ethical dilemma that Davies is trying to raise here is that does the doctor have the right to say who gets to live
The
and
woman
die?
is blowing up the earth. Her plan is to blow up the earth.
That's the problem with the whole thing.
You want to genocide the human race.
Regardless if you believe in the death penalty or not, it's a strange parallel. Like, it should be way lower stakes if you want to have this
Yeah,
conversation.
this is
of,
not low stakes.
should the doctor be allowed to send someone to their death? This this alien is trying to blow the earth up.
Right.
It's very hard to put yourself on the side of, I don't know if the doctor should really get to have a say. He's not even saying I get to have a say. He's saying I'm taking you back to this place where you've been found guilty so that you don't blow up
and
the earth.
He has nothing to do with it. You can't blow up the earth. I'm taking you home. Period. Well, I'm guilty and they have the death penalty and they're gonna kill me. Okay, and I'm not gonna let you blow up the earth.
Yeah,
So
it's a. I know what Davies is trying to do.
I know what they're trying. Yeah,
and
I
get
understand.
that he's probably against capital punishment and the death penalty, which fine. This is not the best. It's a very muddy way.
Odd way.
Yeah. It just doesn't work.
Because there isn't like a redeeming, like, oh, but she is a good, like, she's been trying to actually be a good person and she is redeeming herself.
She's not.
She is not. She is trying to blow up the earth still and then go on the run. She could just leave. She has a way to leave. She does not need to stay on the earth.
The only part that kind of works a little bit better is the idea that the doctor doesn't stick around to see what effect his changes are going to have on, like, and that's true. Every single time we finish an episode, I go, okay, but all those people that were in 1941 that were supposed to die in that bombing are now alive and fully healthy. What is the effect of that? Doctor doesn't care. Let's just get the hell out of here.
That, to me...
That's interesting.
Yes. That part is way more effective than this part. To me. She has a way to leave the earth. She doesn't need to.
They could have
She's
found
choosing to murder everyone.
It would have been better if they picked a story, or even if they found a way to incorporate this story so that the doctor left right after that. Shit went sideways, and Margaret had to
tried to fix it to redeem herself.
Yeah,
but she's not.
If it would have, if it would have went that direction, and the doctor was like, "We have to take you back anyway," and she's like, "But I had to fix your screw up."
Yeah, I fixed what you left behind.
Yeah, made it,
and I'm alone
way
in
better.
this world because of you.
Right. That would have been a moral dilemma.
Yes, this is not.
This one does not seem that good.
And then that's where I have a problem with it too.
Okay. I'm glad that I'm glad we agree on this one, Rachel. You agree on this
one? You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I don't know why you're welcome. I don't know.
I didn't say thank you.
I know. Well, you implied it. So there.
It's night now. Margaret is admiring the ship. She thinks that the TARDIS is pretty cool, and she's like, "Man, there was no way that I was ever gonna get away from the Doctor. Like, this thing is fucking insane." It's another confirmation that even though we don't, as humans, understand the technology that the Doctor has with the TARDIS, these aliens do. So the aliens are impressed by it. That means that it's really fucking good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought some way, shape, or form she was trying to sabotage the TARDIS. Because she's, like, admiring it and she's looking at it.
Sure. Like, wants to start pressing buttons and things.
Yeah. That's not really what happens at the end, but that's where I thought it could be going. And Rose says the police box is actually a police box, because the idea of the police box of you capture someone trying to rape you or whatever. And this
you can either capture somebody in there and
or
lock
protect
them in,
yourself,
or you protect yourself and lock yourself in.
Right.
And so this is being used with the prisoner inside.
We really should have those still.
They seem useful,
Yeah.
honestly.
I feel like that could still be helpful.
Yeah.
Make them bulletproof or something. I think that could actually be kind of helpful.
Oh, that could be really useful then.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever had them in the States.
No, I don't think so.
But you know what? Maybe that's something we need to bring.
You never know. The only other problem would be if someone pulls you inside with them.
They would be monitored, in my opinion. At this point in time, they would be monitored.
That's true.
They'd have cameras. They'd have a alarm system that the police would be notified immediately if something did go inside. Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Police state aside, it's not a terrible idea.
But
Margaret...
I'm just saying, like, the box itself would be.
Oh, right, sure.
If you go inside the box, then they're going to be notified something's in the box. It's the same thing with, like, the boxes they put at police stations for babies.
What?
They're notified something was put in a box.
There's a box for babies at police stations?
Do you not know about the police?
There's like, a baby box?
There's a baby box. So if somebody wants to give up their child, they can just put it in there. No questions asked. They don't know who put it in there. They take the baby.
Like returning
Do you not know about the
book.
boxes?
No, I think I do. I was just trying to play coy to make a library book joke.
God damn it.
Like returning a book at the library. Here's your baby. I think that you could put the baby in the book depository box just as easily.
I suppose. I don't...
Just saying.
I don't do that. Anyways.
Margaret says that they aren't just the police right now, though, are they? They're her executioners. She's trying to goad them into this idea that, like, by taking her back to Phlabotorius, that she's...
Phlabotorius.
They're taking her to her death. And Mickey's like, you deserve it. And she's like, well, you're quick to think so. And they're like, how are you any better than me because you're taking me to my death? And I'd be like, lady... You were going to blow up a planet for profit.
The only one who's not better than her, technically speaking, is the Doctor, considering... Do we know that yet? Am I revealing something?
Yeah, that he committed genocide against the Daleks.
Okay, thank you. So he committed genocide.
Yeah.
As well, technically speaking.
Yeah.
He's like the only one who shouldn't be able to keep his eyes with hers. But she hasn't committed genocide. She's just planning on it.
That's right. She just has ideas.
His was probably more of a last resort type of thing.
Which is, I think, what he says, yeah. So she asks who could actually look her in the eye, and Mickey eventually turns away, as does Rose, and the Doctor technically does too, except for he's tinkering on the TARDIS, so he's
already
looking up
away,
and down.
And then he, like, looks up at her, like, God damn it.
Yeah. Mickey and Rose are outside the TARDIS, and Mickey...
You know what? They don't have Jack do it.
Yeah, because I feel like Jack would be like, I don't fucking care. Like, do you want to have sex before you die? I've never fucked a Slitheen before.
Is it the same in the suit as out of the suit?
Oh, maybe we could do it in and out of the suit. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Let me just do it with the suit. Get out of the suit. I'll fuck the suit. This is a dirty episode. It's because of Jack. It's not my fault. It's Jack's fault.
God. Having sex with a skin suit?
Yeah.
Of a dead person?
Of a dead person.
That an alien is using?
That's right. There's a lot of layers to that.
There are literally a lot of layers to that.
Like an ogre.
I mean, you are peeling it open like an onion.
Do you think...
No!
Because talk about horny. Jack Harkness is going to town on everybody in that movie. All of them.
I don't want to think about it.
Dragon, donkey, gingerbread man.
Well, definitely the dragon. Dragon's down for it.
All of them.
The gingerbread man?
Yes. He's gonna give him his frosting.
I hate you. This is X-rated. I hate it.
I had to. It was right there.
So unnecessary. Anyways, I'm out of this. I'm leaving.
Where are we? So anyway, Mickey and Rose. So after that diatribe, Mickey and Rose are outside the... I apologize to all of our listeners. Mickey and Rose are outside...
Apologize to me. I'm the one sitting here.
No, because I'm doing it just to get a rise out of you. The listeners know what they're in for. Mickey and Rose are outside the TARDIS.
Doctor Who.
Mickey says that Mickey has
Here comes
thought.
some more horn dogness.
What am I saying here? Mickey
I don't
has
know.
thought and says she does. So Mickey's thought about it. Mickey's thought about it while he's looking at this Cardiff Park or Cardiff Square like statue or fountain thing, and he says that she does deserve it. And Rose is like, I didn't really need my passport. I will admit something here, Rachel. I found Rose Tyler / Billie Piper very cute.
Oh, she's a little charming right here. Yes.
Very adorable. Like, very like, oh, she looks so cute here.
She's being kind of sly.
She's doing her typical Rose Tyler things, but there's just something very like, it's very
She's
cute.
charming.
Yeah.
She's being charming.
Because she goes like, I didn't really need my passport. And then she like hides her mouth, which is, maybe that's part of it because I know what she's doing with her mouth. I know she's doing the tongue thing, but she's hiding it. And it's like, oh, she looks so cute. Yeah. Yeah, so that got me. I was like, oh, Rose, you're so cute. So anyway, she's like, I didn't need my passport.
People love Billie Piper.
I'm sure they do.
Love Rose Tyler.
I have admitted she has definitely grown on me. I make fun of the mouth stuff.
She's just a mouth actor.
She's just a mouth actor. And it is, I've gotten it over like the past few episodes. Like, she's very charming. She has a way about her. Definitely. Mm-hmm. So she's admitting kind of that she wanted to see Mickey. So like she came up with like a plan to be able to get the doctor to come back to the timeline.
Yes.
They came back 6 months later, though. So they left him there.
Yeah, but they're always late. They're always late. It seems that way, doesn't it?
Always seems that way.
I mean, but it seems like the time that they were supposed to come back too, so.
Well, because I've posited that the TARDIS sees when the sacred timeline kind of goes askew, and like this is like they seem to always
knows when they need the doctor.
Yeah. He asks her if they want she wants to go get a drink or a pizza or something. Just the two of them. Maybe get a hotel room. Hey-o!
And she's like, "Yeah, let's do that."
Yeah, she is down to clown. Well, she's been stuck with these.
They're not far away from his apartment, I would assume. But they're like, "Yeah, let's get a."
No, they are. They're in Cardiff.
Oh, they are. Oh, yeah, that's true. They are in Cardiff. You're right.
It's
just like somewhere to stay.
If I'm Mickey and I'm Rose, I'm like, let's do it on the TARDIS. Like that's a story.
Yeah, that's true. There's many, many rooms in that TARDIS. It's it's huge. It's humongous. So
and I've been stuck with this asexual 900-year-old being and this polyamorous weirdo time agent con man.
Do you think Rose and Jack?
This whole episode is just so that can happen. That is the conclusion of this episode, is that so that you don't feel bad for when that happens in the next episode or two.
I mean,
I'm putting my money down on it now.
All right.
She doesn't go to tell the doctor. She says it's none of his business. And the doctor was watching them from his TARDIS security camera, I guess. But they walk off. And Margaret asks that she goes like, this isn't usual, is it? That you have to wait like this. Meaning like they have to wait for the TARDIS to refuel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It goes slow on purpose at this point. Like there's dead air for like 10 seconds between Margaret's sentences to give some emphasis to her point here. Never mind the consequences. Off you go. Butchered my family and off you go. And he says, I didn't butcher them. And Jack's like, stop talking to her. You're giving her what she wants. Like she wants to have a dialogue with you. Don't do it. Like
Jack's the only one who has.
Jack is the only one that's like, it's just
fuck
not
this.
like fuck this. Who cares? Yeah, I'll give Jack that. I will give Jack that as a character. He's just like, why are you bothering, dude? He says, well, you left them too. Could have teleported all of them out of there. And she's like, well, I could have only teleported one, and I had no idea where I was going by the time like I only had like a split second to be able to do it.
Right.
And when she did, she ended up on the Isle of Dogs. And then they all have a good laugh about that. Rachel, do you know what the Isle of Dogs is?
I don't. It's a film.
It's go away from the film.
Okay. It's a large peninsula.
I don't know if it's a joke about like what is in the Isle of Dogs or something, or if it's just like far away from what it was, but it's just this peninsula that has that nickname or just has like that name, the Isle of Dogs. But I don't know enough history to kind of say like what would it be that they joke about it.
Okay, so apparently it's also been referred as the unlucky Isle of Dogs because it's somewhere that like nobility had run off to and then escaped. Like they fled from the area. So maybe it's part of that. Because she was fleeing and then ended up on the unlucky Isle of Dogs.
Maybe. So like she fled and then she ended up there.
So there's I bet there's like a parallel.
Yeah, maybe that's the connection.
I know nothing of this.
Yeah,
this is a history I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that one, but they all have a laugh about it. Jack, the doctor, and even Margaret all laugh at this, or Blonde, if you will. So she wants a last request. And she says, you know, I quite liked all the rituals of being a human, the brushing of the teeth, the way they cook their food. She wants to go to a restaurant that's around the bay.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to take the doctor with her. Clearly, this is an attempt to try to gain favor with the doctor to let her go.
Right.
And she says, I've seen you fight with monsters. Now dine with them. Good line.
Yes, that is kind of fun.
And the doctor...
And that's why I kind of wish it was like a dinner with monsters.
Yeah.
Or a dinner with a monster.
Yeah.
That would have been so much better because of that line by itself.
That's what I was saying. Like, it would have been a better title. Jack has bands that will zap her. And this is when he does another onomatopoeia, Rachel. He goes like, zap! Right. Like, he gets like way too into it.
He just loves being this character.
And he says that if she moves 10 feet away, it'll zap her. And because of that, the doctor agrees to it. He's like, all right, let's do it. And they go, oh, dinner in bondage is what is agreed to.
Works for me.
Yeah. The score in this next scene is terrible. Murray Gold, I don't know what you were thinking with this. It's like calliope music. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Rachel, do you know what I'm talking about?
It's definitely montage music. It's definitely like
it didn't feel very tonally appropriate.
Big bandy and flouncy and
flouncy. I don't even know if that's a word, but that's a good word to use for this.
Yes, Kevin, it moves with a flounce. How dare you? An act of departing in a dramatic, haughty way.
Ooh.
Or calling attention to it flashy, showy, elaborate, fancy.
I would agree.
Flouncy.
It's flouncy.
I don't even know if that's a word. I make up some words. I don't make up all words.
So the doctor and Margaret go hand in hand into this restaurant. Mickey and Rose are going on their date. Jack is working on the TARDIS.
Jack is also on a date with the TARDIS.
He's on a date with the TARDIS. Yeah, there you go. So there's a little bit of a montage here, and then we get back to the bistro that the doctor and Margaret are at. Margaret calls it a date, and doctor's like, it's not a date. Because she says, you know, you're taking me on this date, you don't even know my name. And he's like, it's not a date. And then he goes, all right, fine, what's your name?
What is your name?
So then this is when...
That's when we learn it.
It's blonde, flan, flim, flam, perks of Paxa, Massa, Slithine, or whatever. So...
Mm-hmm. That's fine, it's blonde.
She says, that's what it will be on my death certificate. And she shows where she was living as Margaret. Because she's like, that's where I lived, in that flat up there. I'll probably never get to see it again. Which, who knows if she was actually telling the truth or not.
Yeah, it might not even be her flat, right?
That's what she tells the doctor. As the doctor like turns and looks at it, Margaret slips a Mickey into his drink. She like slips something,
like a poison of some sort.
But then the doctor flips the cups because he knows the game. He knows the score here.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "You're welcome," or whatever he says. She says, "What do you know of my species?" And he's like, "A little bit, like enough that like only what I've seen." And she goes, well, do you know that in extreme cases a female can manufacture a poison dart? And she like throws a poison dart at him and he immediately catches it. And he's like, yes, I do. And then she goes, well, can I tell you this?
It's
she
a
like
secret, though.
leans into like give him a secret, yeah. And she goes to in the whisper position, and she goes, sometimes the poison can be exhaled through the lungs, and she goes to like blow the poison at him, and he spritzes her with like Banaka or something, like some like
I don't
mouth-
know, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a mouth thing, like a numbing agent or something. Because
Yeah.
then she just like that's like sticks her tongue out.
Yeah, because it's all like
It doesn't
fine,
work.
yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So she's desperately trying to get away from the doctor. Which, like, what would she have done? She would have had to take the band off his hand, I guess. I guess you could probably just grab the band, right?
Cut his
like,
arm off.
I don't know if like the band is like suctioned onto him. I was like, maybe you could just grab it, but
Oh yeah, I guess you could just take it off, but they might be locked. It might be like a handcuff situation.
yeah, I was thinking it's got to be more like a handcuff situation. But
So cut the arm off. Saw it
now
right
I
off
just
in the
love
middle of the
this.
restaurant.
Now I'm just picturing this scene with this lady being like, "It's all right, I've got him," and then she like takes the suit
Oh yeah, she's
off
like
the
holding him
arm.
out. You just drank too much,
Yeah.
and
then just chopping
his
this
arm
arm off with like her Slitheen arm. So the doctor's like, "You're not getting away. So how about steak and chips?" Rose is telling Mickey all of these stories about these different planets that she's visited. Mickey looks annoyed. She talks about going to the interstellar planet because she's talking about these giant waves. And I was like, did you see Matthew McConaughey there? What is that?
Oh, that would be so interesting. That's a blue box in the
Looks
sky.
like there's some sort of police box landing in
TARS.
here. Get her out of there. Get her out of there, Case. Case, get her out of there. Hello. Oh no, you're all about to die. We're here to look up the something
We're just
something.
having a vacation.
Yeah. The hell's going on?
You're a fixed point, sir. We cannot change that timeline.
Did you make the wormhole? Case? Doesn't appear that they made the wormhole, but oh yeah, Case is actually
Case and TARS.
Case and TARS are both predecessors.
Time Lord technology.
Yeah, they're the TARDIS is a descendant of Case and TARS.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
The TARDIS is a descendant. Interesting.
It's in the name, TARS. Like, it's a family name.
TARDIS.
TARS. That's right. So
It
Mickey...
is a case.
That's right.
It holds stuff.
Because it holds stuff. Mickey looks annoyed by this, and as she's saying this, Mickey just blurts out that he's going out with Trisha Delaney, and that sets Rose back, and she goes, oh,
Yes.
she's nice. She's a bit big. She's degraded.
She's lost weight.
Yeah. You go have fun with your little fat girl, Mickey.
Well, it's one of those where like she's not your type, and how dare you like be dating somebody else when I want to string you along, and
Yes,
you be there when I want you to be there.
Rachel, you're gonna have to tell me what Doctor Whovian fans kind of think about this, because in my opinion, Mickey isn't
Has
wrong.
every right to go out with Delaney.
Yeah, Mickey is not wrong about this.
No, I don't think anybody would say he is wrong.
All right, I don't know what people think about.
I
the
mean,
Mickey
in my
Rose
opinion,
dynamic.
as the voice of the Whovian universe,
Yes, the official truth of the Whovian universe.
Mickey is not wrong, and Rose is in the wrong at this point.
I think she realizes that too.
Yes.
He says that she's been away, and they start walking in silence.
Because she's not on the same time as he is either, so she doesn't
Right.
realize how long she's like just dropping him for.
Right. 18 months, basically.
Yes.
Margaret explains the death penalty execution to try and get sympathy from the doctor. She basically gets turned into soup, but she's still alive as they do it. His response is, he doesn't make the law. And she goes, but you deliver it. It's like, well, kind of. He's a Time Lord. Isn't that part of their job?
I would assume it has something to do with making sure time and the way it functions doesn't get ripped apart.
She wants to be taken to another Slitheen, because she says that they're scattered about the galaxies, and maybe if you just take me to one of them. And he's like, you're just going to do what you did here again. You're going to find some scheme thing to make a profit. You're going to cause another blow up somewhere, and we're going to have to do this all again. She pleads for mercy, and he's like, "You're pleading for mercy from a dead woman's lips," which I thought was a good line.
Yes. Ooh, it is a good line. It's a dark line, but it's true.
Yeah.
You've been in that skin suit too long. You've forgotten. There used to be a real Margaret Blaine. You killed her and stripped her and used the skin. You're pleading for mercy out of a dead woman's lips.
Yeah, it is dark, but it's true. And she's like, well, maybe I have gotten used to this life. I just want an ordinary life. I just want to be able to go live. Back in the Mickey and Rose date, Rose starts getting mad. Like, they're trying to just talk, and they're, like, just talking about stuff, and then immediately Rose just goes, "You don't even like Trisha Delaney."
Yes.
And she just, like, blows up
that's what
on
she's
it.
like. She's holding it.
She's been
thinking
stewing
about it
on
this
it
whole time.
for, like, an hour or whatever, yeah. Eventually, Mickey goes, "Well, at least I know where she is." And she's like,
yes.
"Oh, so this isn't even about Trisha. This is about me. Fine, Mickey. Go have fun with your fat girl and all you stupid little Brits. I'm gonna have fun visiting galaxies." And he's like, "You left me. You left me. You kissed me, and you left me, and you just like you do not care about me." And I get that we've had hints of her, even like in the Father's Day episode, of her being like, he just clings to me, and like I can't get rid of him. I get that that's kind of.
He's in love with her. It's one of those like things that he loves her.
Well,
of course
he even
wants
says like,
to, like,
"I'm trying to date other girls. I'm trying to get on with my life because."
But then you call and I come
and here
running.
I am, and it's like, and he's like, "And I will do it."
This is toxic.
Yeah,
and this is wrong.
Yeah, he's saying like, "I cannot.
It's not fair.
I can't do this to myself." Yeah, is what he's saying. I don't know if the intention is to do that because, like we've said, they've made him almost kind of bumbling at some points, and they've made it seem like that line from Father's Day where Jackie says like
he
clings to the youngest blonde he can find or whatever.
But he is smart. He's able to use computers. He's like able to do other things. He's like has like logical thinking and stuff like that.
They haven't shown him being clingy.
No,
they've shown him being
just the boyfriend,
her boyfriend,
and a friend.
Like I would,
and somebody who gives a shit and cares about her.
Like I would get it a little more if you could show that the relationship
like, oh my
wasn't
God,
as
he's texting me. Oh my God,
strong.
he's calling me all the time. Oh my God, he's like won't leave me alone and say, you know, like he won't let me go off and live my life.
So I am curious.
But I mean, like what he's saying here too is like, but we were nice, and I wanted to just stay the way we were.
I wanted to stay the way we were, which
like,
I also.
I
get.
wanted
like,
to leave and go adventure.
Right. Which totally fair.
And she felt stifled.
Totally fair. I just think compared to the previous episodes, I think we're trying to make you feel like, oh, this Mickey guy's adult. She should be with Jack or the doctor or whatever. In this episode, you get. Rose was not sympathetic to Mickey's feelings and should have
she just left.
let him go. Like, should have explained to him, like, this is not going to work because I'm going to be with the doctor. I'm not going to be in this timeline or whatever, and just strung him along, like you said.
Yeah, don't wait for me.
I don't know what the writers want us to get out of all of this, if we're supposed to not feel sympathy for Mickey, but you absolutely do.
No, I think you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to because it's supposed to show the dynamic of
the consequences of being a companion.
Yeah.
Question.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the answer to this because this is, of course, your era of Doctor Who. Do any of the old Doctor Whos have a companion that has to deal with earthbound relationships like this?
Yeah, he's had human companions that have like family and
ones that are not his granddaughter.
Yes, ones that are not his granddaughter. I don't know if all of them are human, but I think there have been some.
Have they shown them like
that are
portrayed them with like husbands or wives? I'm assuming husbands because they're all women.
I think most of the time, well, some of them are men, but some of the time, well, I don't know if most of the time like they're younger.
Boyfriends,
so
girlfriends, I guess I should say.
I would assume, I don't know about their full-on like relationships and family and everything, but I kind of assume.
I wondered if this concept was a bit novel to show the consequences of being a companion. Like you lose your human bond.
Well, I'm wondering if that's not ever like an obvious thing with old companions. It was just like, well, they're there and then they're not. And then they go back to their lives, and we don't really know what happens because we don't know the consequences of what the Doctor's been doing to these people.
Right. Again,
or they're dead.
The
I don't know. I
doctors...
think some of them have died in companionship with the Doctor too. So
interesting. The Doctor's consequences. that that is part of the theme of this too. So
right.
He doesn't want to take her arm too. Like she tries to grab his arm to like hang on to him, and he won't let her do it. Margaret is pleading with the Doctor, using the evidence that she didn't kill the reporter, and she's saying, like, I've changed. I didn't kill the reporter. I could have. That's, like, what I was bred and born to do, and that's what the family would have taught me to, like, do this, and I didn't do it. And the Doctor's like, yeah, that's how you get away with this stuff. Because there's always some little victim that can be spared, and that's how you live with yourself. You be kind once in a while, and you feel like, all right, I can justify all the killing I'm doing now. And she replies saying, only a killer would know that. This brings back to your point, Rachel. Like, this could have been a longer sequence of talking about this if they would have done a more morally ambiguous tale with her. And they could have done the My Dinner with Margaret.
I think it would have been so much better. I think it would have been so much better.
She says that the Doctor plays with so many lives, he may as well be a god. She says, like, well, yeah, sometimes you do let one go. Let me go. And as he thinks about it, we cut back to Mickey and Rose. As they're, like, talking, she hears something, like, rumbling. And then the Doctor, he also hears the rumbling. And as this is happening, the windows shatter and stuff starts to shake. And, like, the ground starts to shake and stuff like that. So Rose runs. And Mickey yells after her and says, like, it's the Doctor, isn't it? It's always going to be the Doctor. It's never going to be me. I don't agree with Mickey at this point. At this particular point.
No,
it's
this seems like something's wrong.
Yeah, like, something is wrong. Like, she knows.
The Doctor's not saying, we gotta go because I want to go to, like, Honolulu. He's not saying that. He's like, he didn't even say anything. It's Rose going, something is wrong.
Right.
And she just thinks, oh, the Doctor will know.
Right. The Doctor has to wait for Margaret because of the handcuffs. So, like, he's, like, trying to run back to the TARDIS. And Margaret's like, wait! Or blonde, whatever. And the destruction is happening under the TARDIS as the rift opens. So everything's kind of going to hell because, like, the TARDIS rift is opening. And so all this energy is coming in. And it's tearing time and space apart. And the Doctor says the city's going to disappear. Rose runs towards it as special effects put cracks in the ground. It looked like something that you could probably do on the computer, Rachel.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Like, it's video of Rose running, and it's just like putting like little digital cracks into the ground.
No, it's not that. It's simple.
Yeah, it's simple.
It's a simple thing.
It's simple. It looks like a mid-MCU movie with this laser pointing to the sky. I thought that Loki was going to show up and summon some aliens to fight.
Yeah, potentially.
It was all Margaret's fault. So, like, Rose comes in and it's like, what's going on? She grabs Rose.
What we find out.
She grabs Rose with her alien arm, and she says that, like, this was all my plan. They're like, well, we thought that, like, your plan was to blow up the plant. And she's like, well, that was plan A, but plan B is, and it's it's a very convoluted plan where she's like, no. The plan B was that the extrapolator was alien, and if anybody understood what the extrapolator was, that means that I was, like, captured by an alien, and then I programmed the extrapolator to be able to suck the energy from whatever alien thing found me to be able to open the rift, which would cause an explosion. And I was like, that's a convoluted ass plan.
Part of me thinks that it's less of that, and she's like, yeah, that was totally my plan. She goes, no, you idiots, I'm just using it to my advantage now because you're here.
Fair. I would have liked if she explained all of that, and then she goes, no, I'm just using it as my advantage.
No, but look, this is what happened, and I'm using it, so screw you guys.
So Margaret, of course, has not really changed or anything. She's, like, ready to kill Rose, and she tells Flyboy to put the platform at her feet, and Jack does. And the Doctor gives him a nod of, like, you have to do it or she'll kill Rose.
Yes.
She's going to ride the platform to freedom, and she gets a villain line by going, surf's up.
I hate it.
You didn't like that one?
I hate it. I don't know about that one. I don't know. Surf's up.
Too corny for you?
That crossed a line.
For this character, it was in line with the Slitheen, though.
Oh, do you think so?
How about
yeah,
Silent
I
but
guess you're
Deadly?
right.
Was
Yeah,
said in one of these
no.
episodes.
100%, you're right. She's shaking her booty.
I'm
So,
shaking
yeah,
my
you're right.
booty. Yes.
And she does say that one. That one's hers.
Mhm.
So you know what? Fine.
I'm not saying it's good.
It
I'm
works.
saying
Do I
it
like
fits
it?
the
No,
character.
but it does fit the character.
Yeah. The TARDIS opens itself up and shines on her like a poltergeist closet.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
It's a little odd, but
I thought that a bunch of like scientists and a little psychic person were going to come out and be like, "Don't look directly at the light, Margaret. It's going to take
which she
you
shouldn't
there."
technically.
The TARDIS would break apart if Margaret's plan went through. And the doctor's like, the TARDIS is a living thing. It's preventing that.
Right. Yeah, she's like, it's not going to let you do that.
You're looking at the heart of the TARDIS.
Right.
Its soul.
You sound annoyed.
The fuck is this?
I told you the TARDIS was living. I told you that.
I know. I know the TARDIS is living. I think that this is ridiculous.
It's like it's how like it's bigger on the inside. It's how it goes and travels through time and space and knows time and space itself.
This is a very
it's the heart of the TARDIS.
This feels like a very sci-fi-esque
This
conclusion.
is a sci-fi thing.
It feels like a Star Trek ending or a Doctor Who ending. It does feel like a very sci-fi ending. It just is like, all right, I guess that happened, kind of a conclusion. Leave all that in. All that dead air of Rachel trying to find a way.
Me sighing.
Yeah.
I think you're right as it's trying to explain the TARDIS more in this episode. I think that's kind of the whole point of this episode.
Along with the Doctor
Oh yeah, sure, all that stuff.
morality. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like that's a bigger piece, as it's trying to explain a bit more about the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I don't know how much they explained it in the old ones, but maybe this was explained
I
and
don't know.
everything. But it's like, if
Yeah.
you don't know it, they do have to kind of
explain
talk
it.
about
yeah,
it again.
they have to assume that you have not watched these since the 60s. Like you have to do that.
Right.
The thing that gets me with it a little bit though is it makes it so, and this is fine, but it makes it so that it feels like the TARDIS can do anything. So it almost feels like this thing has no limits on its power. But that's just me having like that idea of like, should you have a constraint on your magic? But that's fine. It's
Superman.
fine. But he has some constraints in some
TARDIS
sources.
is still worked on like it is a tech that has to take breaks, that is broken in parts.
Sure.
You know,
No,
it's not perfect.
I'm not saying
it's not overpowered.
I'm not saying this was like terrible
but it's
or
bigger
anything.
than you think it is. It's bigger
Yeah.
and it's more than you think it is, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not.
It's a sci-fi thingamajig.
Sure.
That they want you to understand is a huge thing, and it's more.
I got you. No,
Anyways.
I'm there. I hear you. I'm just saying, like, for someone that was coming in blind or cold to the episode, I was like, like it took me.
Well,
I
I feel like that's one way to to look at it, but I feel like other people would be like, "Oh wow, okay, this thing is huge. Like this is wow, that's the heart. It's alive. It's a living thing. That's crazy."
Right. Okay. No, I hear you. And like I said, I've had Phantom X in Marvel has Eva, which is his TARDIS, and it's a living being that eventually becomes like sentient or something like that. You know, I cannot say that these things don't happen in other mediums that I enjoy. But I'm not even saying that this was bad or anything. I'm just saying, like, it took me a minute to be like,
well, that's kind of where it came. It felt a little like you're like, yeah, okay, this is stupid. This is
well,
bad. That's
it was
kind
more
of
just
where
of
it
like
felt like you were going.
No, it was more of a what the fuck moment than anything.
Sure, but that's fair. But at the same time, yeah.
The doctor encourages her to look at it, and she lets go of Rose and becomes entranced by this. and she says thank you after a minute, and then we get a white event, and there's a white screen, and the skin suit falls. The TARDIS closes itself, which was also kind of funny. It just reminded me of like the E.T. adventure. Like all I thought of was like an animatronic being
look like
that, and like falling asleep.
Yeah. It's a bit of a Little Shop of Horrors, Audrey 2 kind of movement.
Yeah, it does look like the big plant. Yeah.
Yep. It's kind of what, you know what? The TARDIS is like Audrey 2. No, I'm not going to go on that. I'm sorry.
You could write a paper about that. Yeah.
I probably could.
And then the three of them mess with the panels to stop the riff. I thought that the TARDIS should have been able to do that too. Like, why doesn't the TARDIS just turn itself off to stop the rift?
Well, it's still a ship, and is like supposed to be like flown and have like people actually running it. Mm-hmm. It's very complex.
It's got a lot of feelings, the TARDIS.
It's
got a lot of layers.
It's living.
Like an onion.
It's an onion.
Yeah.
It's a parfait. It's more of a parfait.
It's kind of more of a parfait.
Everybody loves a parfait.
Parfaits may be the best thing in the whole
All I'm
damn
hearing
planet.
is you don't like the TARDIS, and it's very upsetting.
I don't know if I have an opinion on the TARDIS.
Not everybody likes onions. I guess it's more of an onion.
Should I have an opinion on the TARDIS?
I don't know. Do you like the TARDIS?
It's a vehicle.
Okay. It's a living thing, We just established that.
I don't have anything against I have folks at home. I have
You're
nothing.
Like, I don't even know what does that mean?
I have nothing against the TARDIS.
You can't just say this object is alive. What does it mean?
For my entire life, even when I have called them blowguards and derided Doctor Who just to get a rise out of Rachel, she has been like, but you will not talk badly about the TARDIS. And I'm like,
you.
All right, it's his ship. The Doctor explains that the ship can get in your head. So he's like, so who knows what happened to her? And they look at the human suit and they find this egg there. And the Doctor's like, oh, it's Margaret. She's an egg. She's reverted back to an egg, like at the end of 2001. And the Doctor's like, we'll just give her to a different family at Plexifloriflactorius. And she could be raised better. And Jack's like, or worse.
Oh, is this a nature versus nurture?
Yeah. And the Doctor's like, that's her choice. So, like, she's going to get to redo it. She's going to get a second chance.
She gets more of a second chance here than just being killed by your planet, then, I guess.
Rose remembers Mickey and runs out looking for him, and she gets back to the pier, and Mickey's standing farther back and sees Rose looking for him. He looks angry towards her and leaves.
He just like storms off. She doesn't even see him. She doesn't even
see him. Giving her permission to bang Captain Jack is what I wrote in my notes. That's what they're
Delaney, so
they're setting you up to not feel bad for when Jack and Rose kiss. That's what they're setting you up for.
That's what's
my
happening.
opinion.
That's what's happening.
Rose,
how do you know that she doesn't fall in love with the TARDIS?
It's possible. It is possible. She hugged it earlier.
Exactly.
Rose is upset. And the Doctor's like, do you want to find Mickey? And she goes, he's okay. He's gone. And the Doctor's like, okay, well, we're ready to go.
Trisha Delaney can take care of him now.
Yeah, go off with your little fat girl from the shop. The Doctor says, okay, if they want to find him, like, you can go find him. And she says, like, no, he deserves better. So, like, I think the Doctor even could tell what was going to happen, or like knew that like something went down there. They have the egg in this like containment unit until they get to the planet to give her to the family, and she goes like she'll get a second chance, and Rose is like, that'd be nice. And I think Rose is saying she wants a second chance with Mickey, I think is the idea. Yeah,
to like not be an ass. I think so.
And that is the end of Boomtown. So we have gotten through that episode of Doctor Who. Rachel?
Did you watch the next time, or did you skip it?
It started up automatically, and once again, these people need to fucking figure out what to not put in the episode.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, because the first 30 seconds... Folks, I'm going to spoil a 20-year-old episode of Doctor Who in some ways here. The first 30 seconds of that preview, I was like, this is weird. They're doing like a bit about reality TV because it's 2005.
Sure.
And then in the last 5
I don't know why you watched
seconds. And I have my opinions about that, and we'll get into that later. But in the last 5 seconds, they show something, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? What? Why would you show that? That should be a big surprise.
Yeah. I guess back then it was like, but that's gonna reel them in. You're gonna want to come back.
Yeah. I know. It's all about the ratings and stuff. But like, you should have more faith in your audience. And like today, you could get people to like put on social media like, "Holy shit, this happened," and like people would maybe tune in. But like, you should have more faith in your audience to like be able to be with you on a journey. Anyway,
right?
Like we are. We tell the people what
we have faith in you.
We tell the people what the lineup is. We don't necessarily tell people what's coming next or anything like that. You just have faith.
No.
We have faith in you that you're like, can't wait to see what drops next time.
And honestly, and you want to know something? You get to decide what's next. If you want to go back to season 1, you can go back to season 1.
That's right.
If you want to go to the
Listen
next
to
episode,
a
that's
slow
totally
plotting
fine.
podcast. You want to skip Doctor Who? You can. That's your right.
And we trust you.
We trust you. We trust that you will find.
Come back.
That you will always. You may leave, but you're always coming back to Shelf Life.
We're in your head now.
We have the fucking numbers to kind of prove that. But you may take a break, but you're going to be like, you know what, though? I need those long walkthroughs. I need to hear that insight about a 20-year-old Doctor Who episode and what they thought about it.
That's right.
You're going to listen. Damn it. This is Shelf
Or you
Life.
might listen to it and argue with us. That's also okay.
Also fine.
Have fun.
And you're also allowed to skip episodes to find stuff that you enjoy. That's what Shelf Life's all about. My thoughts on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wrote that this one just kind of feels like it happens.
Yes.
And it happens for character development reasons. Mm-hmm. Mostly with Mickey and Rose. Mm-hmm. I think that they were aiming for stuff with the Doctor, and I don't think that really landed for me.
Yes.
Nothing really with Jack. But it happens.
Jack, I think, was just there.
He's just there.
In this one.
But for me, this episode was just kind of there. It was fine. I liked the Mickey and Rose parts. I thought that they did very well with those. The acting and the way that was handled. If they were going for what I think they were going for. The Margaret Slitheen stuff, what they wanted from that didn't hit, but I didn't mind it. So like this one was just fine for me. What about you?
So,
do you remember how the show works?
There's no transition.
You're right.
There was no transition for
You're
me.
right. I did not give you a transition.
So
Rachel,
this
what do you think
one,
about the show? There, that's your transition.
He
is your transition.
Thanks for letting me know. Speed?
Speed. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For me, this episode also kind of feels like a filler. Like it was partial filler, partial just there. And I feel like if they really wanted to put in the elements that seemed important, it wouldn't have felt like a filler. The TARDIS stuff felt kind of important. The stuff with Mickey and Rose felt important. The stuff with the Doctor having to look at his past mistakes and what he's causing felt important. But the story just didn't bring that out as important. It felt like a filler episode.
Yeah. It felt like a bottleneck episode. Like the TARDIS in a restaurant are like your big set pieces.
Right.
And the outside of like the Cardiff town square.
Mm-hmm. So it just felt like we want this to be important, but we're going to put it in a filler.
Mm-hmm. Which, you know what, though? Sometimes that's the way to do it, because, like, you want to space out, like, all the important stuff, so, like, you put some of it in.
Sure, but this was like, here, let's just shove a bunch of important stuff into this
the middle
filler
of it.
episode.
Yeah.
And it just felt like, wait a minute, hold on, this is important?
Yeah.
This is important. Make sure you don't forget this. This is actually important. It's not just filler. This isn't just, little bit of development here and there. This is important, but it's in a filler episode. That's just what it felt like to me.
You would hear from creatives that there are no filler episodes. Like we get, but like, come on, there are.
No, there are.
You get a.
That's why they're called filler episodes.
Right. Like you got to a point where you were like, these are the beats of the story I want to hit, and I have too much time remaining. And instead of being able to shorten it or anything, you just have to figure out a way to get to that time remaining.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and no, I'm like, maybe I'm being overly judgmental of it feeling like a filler, but it did. It was a pit stop for the TARDIS.
Yeah, it literally was. It was literally a pit stop.
It was literally a pit stop.
Literally a pit stop. They kind of telegraph it, I guess, at the beginning of the episode by telling you, like, we're taking a pit stop.
Yeah.
And going back to a previous villain and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Right. So,
I guess we should have seen that coming. But that was Boomtown, which
AKA,
means... AKA...
Dinner with a Monster.
Or My Dinner with Margaret.
I like it.
We have 2 episodes left, and something tells me that neither of them are going to be filler, because there are just 2 episodes left. But looking at the time, we have to go fill up our TARDIS to be able to continue.
We need a pit stop, don't we?
Yeah.
Dang
I definitely need a pit stop. If you know what I mean. I don't even know what that means.
Do I put a fart sound in here?
I can make my own.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So anyway, we will have to take a break here, but next time, or actually further down the line, we will always be back in time and space for the exciting conclusion of Doctor Who Series 1! Until then, I've been Kevin!
And I'm Rachel!
Keep watching the skies on Shelf Life!
Stay